for the squad was Hannah Hampton. As well as saving 2 pens, she was actually born with an eye condition, which means she has no depth perception, and she was told she could never play professional sport. Hampton told talkSPORT what this win means to the squad.
It doesn't matter what gets thrown at us, we'll come out on top, and yeah, today being able to lift that trophy is, I don't know, it's a real reward for all the determination, hard work and just the grit that we've shown throughout this tournament to keep ourselves going when everything's been thrown against us.
Meanwhile, Lucy Bronze revealed after the game that she actually played the entire tournament with a fractured tibia. Just as well, her government middle name is Tough. Yep, Lucy Tough Bronze. Serena Wiegman had nothing but praise for her resilience.
Of course, we tried to manage that. But when you play on the 20 minutes, you're not managing it, aren't you? Are you? So, no, yeah, she, I told you, Lucy Bronze is just, her mentality is like, I think the whole team has an incredible mentality, but she has a crazy mentality. It's unbelievable.
And Luke Littler becomes the youngest ever Triple Crown winner after taking the World Match Play title. The teen sensation outgunned James Wade 18-13. He also shattered more records with 64 180s, the most ever in the tournament. For more on these stories, head to talksport.com.
This is Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs with you through until 4 here on talkSPORT, where this afternoon, Andy, please tell us what's coming up.
Well, coming up over the next 3 hours, we'll cross to Downing Street as the Lionesses arrive for their victory reception. Former England striker Emil Heskey talks Liverpool and more. And Troy Deeney on having your head turned and being in the celebrity SAS.
Yeah, he's joined the celebrity SAS. He's not the only footballer in it. We'll tell you more about that later. We're also after tales of famous ancestors as Mussolini's great-grandson prepares for his Serie A debut. His grandson would be about 60, wouldn't he? And cricket's very own Vic Marks tells us where Ben Stokes ranks among the great England captains.
There's all this plus Danny Kelly's latest postcard from Ireland, and we'll bring you all the latest transfer news.
We will, from around Europe, not just in the Premier League and beyond, so that's all to come. But it is 3 minutes past 1. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Andy.
Good afternoon, Paul. Good afternoon, everybody. It was fantastic, wasn't it? Really,
what a weekend of sport. Yeah,
brilliant.
Yeah.
But that was just, it was an incredible game, really, because by half-time...
This is the Lionesses you're talking about?
No, I'm talking about England's test match. No, of course I'm talking about the Lionesses. By half-time, I'd kind of given up. I thought it was so one-sided.
Yeah.
I just thought, they're not getting back in this. So I had a cup of tea and I had a chat with Sue. By the time I went back to watch the second half, after about 10 minutes, they'd scored.
Oh, wow.
And after that,
Year of little faith.
Well, not surprising. They were so outplayed in the first half. But it's amazing football. The better team didn't win. Spain are a better football team than England. But the team with the biggest heart, the biggest resilience, the will to win, never say die, that's the team that won out. And they deserved it. It was fantastic.
We'll talk to Leanne about this. If you think of sort of great England teams of the past, they've not really had a great deal of luck. Okay, apart from 66, did it cross the line? You can argue about that. But, the Frank Lampard one that crossed the line, the Gazza not quite reaching the balls, whole litany of moments, big games moments in big games where the luck has not gone England's way. So, they rode their luck a lot during the tournament. But most teams that have won big tournaments have done that at some point. So, so well done to them. We're going to be Alex Dibbles headed down to Downing Street, and we'll be hearing from him a little bit later on. They've got a big reception. Then there's the Victory Parade tomorrow. Of course, talkSPORT will be there to bring you the highlights from that. We're going to have a chat with Leanne Sanderson, who was on box park duty last night.
It was a great atmosphere there as well. I saw the pictures this morning. I thought it was interesting. I did a bit of a Mystic Andy, actually. When Paruello missed those 2 chances, I wrote down, she could miss her pen now.
Oh.
Because I just thought that, it was going to be playing on her mind. That was the worst penalty out of all.
Let's put it around the post.
I was quite surprised at the quality of Spain's penalties. I was watching it with the wife, and I said to her, they're technically very good. I don't expect them to miss a lot of their penalties, and they were really poor.
Yeah.
Hannah Hampton was brilliant, but they weren't great pens.
They weren't great pens. Bon Matty's one wasn't particularly good, was it? No, a bit too close.
And Chloe Kelly's was. The King's message was great. It contains a reference to Baddiel and Skinner's Three Lions song.
Right.
Football's coming home, he mentions, and all this.
Nice.
Blimey, he's changed his tune since the Royal Variety Show when he said to Frank, "Are you some kind of Northern club comedian?"
I don't think it was quite like that, but I think, do you mainly work in the north, is what I think he said, yeah.
Did you see Lionel Messi and his wife on the kissing cam at the Coldplay concert?
Oh, right.
At least he was with his own wife.
Yes, he was. That was the good news.
It was, really. And Geordies are the sweariest people in Britain, according to a new survey. It's been even worse since Isaac said he wanted to leave.
Yeah. Oh, they've probably upped the quota, haven't they? There is something about that. It's the Chubby Brown thing. It's the Northeast. There is, I don't know, there's something quite poetic about the swearing in the Northeast.
That's true.
Not that I'm encouraging
and all that.
Any young kids from the Northeast listening today. It's not clever and it's not funny. Well, actually, it is quite funny, but only in the right hands. But there we are. So what we're talking about today, we're going to talk about Mussolini's great-grandson. Yeah, not Ken Mussolini, the plumber. Benito Mussolini, former dictator of Italy.
Yeah.
His great-grandson, he's only 22. He's gone to Cremonese on loan from Lazio. And he's going to get some first-team football there. So we'll have Mussolini playing in Serie A. So he has talked about it. He said, "My surname has bothered others far more than it's bothered me." He said.
Well, it's understandable. I mean, if you've got a family name that's an awkward name, do you remember?
Infamous, notorious,
or even famous, like Don Bradman's son changed his name because he couldn't live up to being Don Bradman's son.
But tell the boys and girls what he changed it to.
John Bradnan.
Yeah.
What's the point?
He didn't stray very far, did he?
Not really.
Are you any relation to? No, it's Bradnan. He must have got fed up with that. You really look like Don Bradman. No, I'm Bradnan. Yeah, he should have gone much further away.
Well, I did notice this week that somebody called Harry Charles was marrying Steve Jobs' daughter, Eve Jobs. Steve Jobs' daughter, he called his daughter Eve.
Even Steve Jobs?
Even Steve. It's a strange thing to do.
That's like something on Checker Trade, isn't it? Even Steve Jobs. So, yes, we're going to see Mussolini. Those little, we're watching the Cremonese game on telly, and it's going to pull back. Mussolini. It's going to be a bit. It's going to be a bit
and
weird.
You can't say he's dictating the play.
No,
or
you can't. You certainly can't do.
Any of that.
There's quite a lot of gags you can't do.
Very much,
really. But maybe famous ancestors. Maybe you've been shot. Maybe you've got one. The more obscure, the better. Really. Oh yeah, my great granddad was the bloke who. So, or somebody has said to you, well, yeah, I'm related to him or related to her. So the more obscure, the better. Great ancestors. Tell us your stories this afternoon. talksport.com/H&J. You can text to 81089 or you can tweet to, well, we've got Steve Hitler on line 3. No, of course we haven't. Of course not. No, we haven't. 0371 722 3344 if you want to get in touch.
A lot of people in the newspapers commented on both the cover. I went with ITV actually because I love Lucy Ward and they had Emma Hayes.
Yeah,
and I
Righty was on.
Both companies did a good job, I think.
Yeah.
But I just went with them, and of course they had Righty, and a lot of people sort of making fun of online of Righty's jumper that he was wearing, short sleeve jumper.
My missus, the first thing she noticed, I like Righty's shirt.
Well, I mean, she would do, and she's got good taste because it was by Mussolini. It was clearly a Mussolini. They cost quite a lot of money, those jumpers.
It's all about the money.
I know, but this one says it looked like it had been knitted by an ardent female fan, said Alison Rudd in the Times today.
Blimey.
Yeah, a bit harsh on Mussolini, I'd say.
Mussolini.
Not that it's up to me to defend them.
Mussolini. So let's get him on. Mussolini. You a friend? Do you know the fella?
I don't, but I love their jumpers, but they're a bit ridiculous.
Looking for a freebie by the sound.
Very unlikely.
Yeah.
Don't think I'm their target market, to be honest.
We're going to talk to Victor Marks later on. He's done a kind of follow-up to a famous cricket book. It's called The Cricket Captains of England. And we'll reflect on the test. And another test starts on Thursday, of course.
Yeah,
Not much of a let-up for the bowlers.
I'm just been so disappointed in the pitches. Apart from Headingley, which was a good pitch, the pitches this year have been absolutely terrible. And the players have contrived to come up with a good series, but it's almost, against what they're having to deal with. There was no, for cricket to be good, there's got to be an even struggle between bat and ball. And to watch England rack up all those runs and then watch them do that, I was so bored. You think, well done, groundsman, that is a complete disaster.
Yeah. Well, we'll get Vic's take on that a little bit later on. We will also be reflecting on the Lions. Rocky Clark's going to join us, who's a World Cup winner with England in the world of rugby union. And it'd be interesting to see if there's any knock-on effect. The World Cup, Women's Rugby World Cup starts next month in the UK. And it'd be interesting to get Rocky's take on that, because I don't think it can hurt the Lionesses and the profile of women's football.
No, absolutely
None of that
not.
can hurt. I think it'll be a knock-on effect for attendances.
It was a great game, and it was great. It was just, it's difficult to say because you wanted the Lions to win, but it would have been better for the series had Australia held on.
But it was a great game,
was a
and
great
it was
game,
close.
yeah. Very good game.
Our own Andrew McKenna, he wrote a really interesting piece actually today, which the talkSPORT website put up, his reflections on commentating on a moment like that. So Rocky's going to join us for a chat. So Steve Jobs, at least he didn't call his kid Odd. Well, you wouldn't, would you? It's not even a name unless it's Scandinavian, I suppose. Old Low Norse or something. A distant relative of mine was the Admiral on the Bismarck. Says Tony in Canterbury. He's a West Ham fan.
Well,
you could be making. I mean,
you could do. Why would you make that up? That's a bit obscure, isn't it?
I mean, not every ship has an admiral, does it? Really? I mean, I don't think Tony's really thought that through. I mean, admirals tend to look after more than one ship.
Yeah, they're normally shore bound, as they say.
Yeah. Well, look, we take you at face value. I mean, some of them are clearly not true, and I'm guessing that one kicked it off. My dad always says we were a distant family of Robin Hood. But sadly, I look more like Friar Tuck. Says Raph the Forest fan.
Good.
Yeah. What about this? I'm distantly related to Deacon William Brodie, who was the inspiration for Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, the story by Robert Louis Stevenson. Says, can you turn in a moment like that, Andy, in Leicester? Leicester get a bad result, and he emerges from behind the desk. Really bad-tempered and unpleasant.
That's been bad-tempered the whole season.
Yeah, that would be Mr. Hyde for about 9 months, wouldn't it? Yeah. Well, we're getting quite a few of these now off the back of Mussolini's great-grandson turning out for Cremonese. You'd be a bit worried putting in a reducer on him. I mean, I don't see why, but we'll be slightly looking over your shoulder afterwards. talksport.com/H&J. Text to 81089, tweet to TSH&J, 03717223344. But we're talking Lionesses next, the impact of that win. Leanne Sanderson's going to join us. She was in the Box Park last night, where he said the atmosphere did look pretty amazing. So she was out of the tournament, of course.
She's got a shirt on today.
Yeah, wearing her colours quite clearly today, understandably. We'll be chatting about the game, some of the talking points from it, and just how resilient, as Andy said, this team is, and the future, I think, for women's football. More eyes on the WSL, and certainly a World Cup just around. It was quite interesting. Emma Hayes saying afterwards, the way she was watching the match, Laura Woods was saying to her, wasn't she, that you were watching it in a very different way. The way she said, obviously I was wrapped up in it because I know a lot of these girls and I've worked with them, but she was also watching. Of course. She said, if I've got an opportunity, if I'm just sitting there making notes, an opportunity to watch two of the best teams in the world just ahead of a World Cup in a role as the USA coach, that's understandable. So yeah, Leanne joins us for a chat next. Later on, we're talking transfers. We're going to chat to Rocky Clark, a bit of Lions reflection and that quite contentious moment right at the end of the game, which the Aussies are still very upset about. Emil Heskey We're going to talk Liverpool. We're also going to talk women's football with him because he's head of development at women's football at Leicester City. Vic Marks on the cricket and more. Troy Dean is going to be in Celebrity SAS. Danny Kelly's postcard from Ireland, and we'll have transfers from here and across Europe. That's all to come. We're here with Toolstation this summer. Shop Toolstation's award-winning Hawksmoor lawnmower range, Hawksmoor and Jacobs.
Marvellous.
In-store, on app and online. Next stop, Toolstation.
They just don't do things easy, these Lionesses.
To be able to help the team in any way possible, I've been there for and running around for 120 minutes, so the least I can do is save a few shots here and there. And
Caldente, saved by Hutton!
She's read it well and it's a great save, well done.
Bonmati right-footed, Hutton saves again! Hannah Hutton, you are one of the greats! Here comes Chloe Kelly!
She's going to do it.
Against Katakoi, hop, skip, jump, oh my goodness! What a penalty kick! You better believe it! These legendary Lionesses are the winners! Leah Williamson has the trophy in her hand. Big smile on her face. She's going to lift it high with Walsh into the sky! These are the Lionesses! This is England! Champions of Europe again!
Yes, top work by the team out there in Switzerland. Your commentator Joe Shen and Tash Dowie. I'll have a chat with Tash a little bit later on before they head home. Serena Wiegmann, the England boss, soon to be soon to be Dame. I would think it's going to be honorary damehood.
I wouldn't be
coming in.
surprised. She deserves it.
Honorary one. So yeah, she's won the last 3 women's Euros with the Netherlands and of course with England. She told talkSPORT how proud she is of the team achievements.
Well, the emotions are that I actually still can't believe it, that we did it again. And I'm happy. I think it still has to sink in. I'm really, really proud of the team and the staff, how we have done this together and how much work we have put in this. And yes, that you can just see that on the pitch. Where necessary, we'll fight. I think moments of the game we played really well. You know, they're very good on the ball, so of course they're going to challenge us in defense. But how we got through and then winning it with penalties, with Chloe the last one, it's an unbelievable scenario.
You didn't doubt for a second Chloe Kelly was going to score that, though. You would have put your house on it, wouldn't you, really, the way she's been taking penalties.
Sure.
And
Although she did miss one in the last game, so...
Yeah. Leanne Sanderson joins us now. She was at the Box Park for talkSPORT last night, and fantastic atmosphere from what we could hear. Hi, Leanne.
Hello, guys. You all right?
Good, thank you. It sounded like the next best place to be, really, if you weren't going to be in the stadium last night. It sounded amazing.
Oh, yeah, it was incredible. We did a preview show there, me, Perry Groves and Ollie Klink, and it was really, really good. And then Oasis was the night before, so they had to clear all that out and get the Lionesses fans in, and it was incredible. They were giving out bucket hats outside, T-shirts. The vibes were amazing, but I think it was quite interesting because the biggest cheers were like when Chloe Kelly was on the big screen and with Michelle Adjumang as well. And it was amazing just to be there, and everybody's just happy. Myself and Uma Gurav were crying. You know, I watched the penalties on my own because I like watching football on my own. I don't like it. You know, when you're out somewhere, I don't really like watching it in pubs because everybody's got something to say. And sometimes I get a bit rolled up, especially when I'm watching Man United. I like to watch it on my own. And when the penalties were happening, I was like, I'm going to watch it on my own. And I was kind of like, you know, and it's just the emotion and the feeling. Like, it's incredible. I love playing for my country. And the fact that I now get to watch them, you know, bring home silverware in the way that we never could. Like, we made the final in 2009 and we got battered by Germany 6-2 in the European Championship final. And now the Lionesses are finally bringing it home.
I mean, Hannah Hampton was brilliant, but for a team that's so technically brilliant, I was surprised how poor their penalties were.
Yeah, it's been a weird tournament for penalties, hasn't it? You know, we read out a stat on air the other day, like 50% of the penalties have been missed, and that's been in normal game time as well. I mean, Mariana Caldente has now missed 2 in this tournament. She doesn't miss for Arsenal. I think she's taken 10 or 11 this year and scored every single one. So, you know, Bonmati missed, best player in the world. So, and Serena Wigman actually spoke before the game about the fact that they've not actually been practicing penalties, which I was quite surprised that they admitted that. Because, you know, some people have different opinions. I don't think penalties are luck. I do believe in repetition, but I don't think you can ever recreate, like, you know, Chloe Kelly stepping up in the European Championship final to win the European Championship. You can't recreate that in training with your teammates.
No, you can't. Serena Wigman, we should have a word for her. I mean, she really is brilliant, isn't she? I mean, people, you know, Emma Hayes thought Russo was withdrawn too early. You can argue whether she was or she wasn't, but I thought how she treated Jess Carter was so interesting. Left her out, and when she picked her for the final, you're thinking, hello, that's a bit strange because her form hasn't been great, and emotionally she's obviously had problems as well, understandably. But no, she picked her for the final, and she played really well, didn't she?
Yeah, fair play to Jess because, you know, what she's been through the last couple of weeks is an absolute disgrace. I've spoken about it a number of times. Then to be thrown in again after, like you say, Andy, having a poor tournament, be thrown in at the final, going up against some of the best front line in the world. She was one of our best players. And I think the mental toughness that you have to play for your country anyway, the pressure that comes with it. And, you know, we've wanted the women's game to be at this point where people are critiquing it and there is that pressure. But there was already pressure playing for your country. You know, not many people get the honour to do that. And the fact that Jess got to do that yesterday and the way she played was incredible. I was a bit worried before the game that on our left-hand side, Alex Greenwood and Jess Carter due to the lack of pace in those areas. But we were fantastic. I thought Spain were way off it like they were against Germany and Switzerland, taking nothing away from the Lionesses, but they were nowhere near it. And, you know, you can never write this team off. And you're right, Andy, like Serena Wigman, I always say I wish she was my manager when I was there, because the open and honest communication is something that's been lacking from the women's game since I was playing, since when I was younger. And the fact that Serena Wigman is very blunt, as I always say, Dutch culture is very blunt and honest, and I love it.
And very calm at different points. You know, she could have been emotional about it, but she kept a level head. She probably kept them all very level-headed. And I wonder if it's sweeter, really, winning it this way, because it was hard fought. And there were a number of times when they could have been out of the tournament. And collectively...
The first half, they were completely outplayed.
Yeah.
You could have easily been 2-0.
And collectively and individually, Leanne, I think they didn't play as well as they can do, but they've still done enough to win the trophy.
Yeah, I mean, analysing this Lionesses team during this tournament has been the weirdest experience of my life, because we keep saying we're not playing well, but we keep winning. So then is Serena a tactical genius? You know, I think she has got quite lucky at times with regards to Michelle Adjiman coming on in the 86th minute. I mean, we all know football, and I think Serena will probably say the same herself. You know, she couldn't quite believe that they'd gone and won it in the way that they did against Italy. But again, she's laid down these foundations that these players just don't stop, never ended. I mean, Lucy Bronze has played on a fractured tibia. You know, these types of things, and these players putting themselves through everything. Hannah Hampton, her nose was like, they just eat, sleep and breathe playing for their country, and it's just unbelievable. But I think collectively as a team, they are fantastic. There's people that are in the team individually that are brilliant, but I think you look at the last World Cup in New Zealand and Australia, Leah Williamson wasn't available, Beth Mead wasn't available due to injury, and we still made the final. So we lost all those players before the tournament. Everyone was talking about Millie Bright, Mary Earps and Fran Kirby. I was a bit concerned, I'm not going to lie, but we've won again without those players. Do you know what I mean? So fair play to Serena and the team.
It's very interesting. Both Hannah Hampton and Chloe Kelly made kind of understandably pointed comments after the game about, Hampton had been under ridiculous pressure because of Earps and what had happened, and the same, So, and for Chloe Kelly, which is, again, a really surprising situation at Manchester City. I mean, it's difficult to know what went there, but whoever decided she wasn't good enough, they must be thinking, perhaps I got that wrong.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I know Chloe Kelly really well. She's a former teammate of mine, top person. I know her husband, her family, and they're great people. And I'm just delighted because I know she was looking to take, a break from football when she was at Man City due to how she was feeling mentally. And Chloe's a top person. And look how she's ended her season, winning the Champions League, moving to Arsenal, and now winning the European Championship again and being the match winner. Like, she deserves everything and more. I'm going to be at that parade tomorrow at Trafalgar Square, and I cannot wait.
Brilliant.
Fantastic. Good stuff, Liam. We'll catch up with you soon. Thanks very much.
Nice one, guys. See you later.
Leanne Sanderson there, former England forward on the Lionesses. Victory, and Natasha Dowie's going to join us a little bit later on. Your co-commentator yesterday with Joe Shannon, and of course throughout the tournament.
Lauren Hemp played well. That was her best game of the tournament.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, no, some great performances.
Yeah, they really were.
And as we said, look, bodes well for the World Cup, which isn't that far away. It's Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs here on talkSPORT, getting quite a lot of famous ancestors in. We told you earlier on, Benito Mussolini, his great-grandson's going to be playing in Serie A next season, so we're getting some quite interesting ones coming in. Weird and wonderful. We'll give you the best of those over the next 2 and a bit hours. But next, we're going to be talking to Rocky Clark, an England World Cup winner, and reflecting on the Lions and all the fallout from that second Test victory.
England are going to kick off their Euro celebrations back in the UK with a reception at Downing Street after beating Spain in a nail-biting penalty shootout. Chloe Kelly, the hero for the Lionesses in 2022, reprised her role for the big moments and buried the decisive penalty to seal the 3-1 result. talkSPORT's Adrian Durham tells us, although it was a chaotic route to victory, this squad should never be overlooked.
I mean, when you look back, could you say they were the best team? Well, they've won the tournament, and that's all that matters.
Yep.
There might have been other teams played better. But this England side had a depth in the squad, a character and a spirit that none of the others could match, and it's seen them through to victory in the end.
The Lionesses are then set for an open-top bus parade celebration in central London tomorrow, followed by a ceremony outside Buckingham Palace. Meanwhile, Lucy Bronze revealed after the game that she actually played the entire tournament with a fractured tibia. Just as well, her government middle name is Tough. Yep, Lucy Tough Bronze. Serena Wiegmann had nothing but praise for her resilience.
Lucy Bronze is just, her mentality is like, I think the whole team has an incredible mentality, but she has a crazy mentality. It's unbelievable.
And Luke Littler becomes the youngest ever Triple Crown winner after taking the World Match Play title. For more on these stories, head to talksport.com.
Ahead of this one of the most iconic stadiums in the world.
There's more push and shove going on. Bit of biff.
Bring back the biff.
Wallabies from 40 metres. Tom Wright's going to go in. 2 tries in a matter of minutes. Listen to the MCG. They're definitely behind their Wallabies this evening. To James Lowe. Tyburn outside him. Tyburn for the corner. Gets there. 2-point game. 20 minutes to play. Hugo Keenan to the left-hand side to win it! Hugo Keenan scores the try! 50 seconds to go! The British and Irish Lions have won their first series in 12 years.
Wow, yeah, dramatic stuff.
Very dramatic.
Andrew McKenna there, our commentator. We brought you live and exclusive, as we will, the third test this weekend. The Australians weren't happy about that moment just before Hugo Keenan's last gasp try. Joe Schmidt spoke to the media afterwards, and this is what he had to say.
Players make errors, match officials make errors. Our perspective is, you know, we felt it was a decision that that doesn't really live up to the big player safety push that they're talking about. You know, it's you cannot hit someone above the level of the shoulders, and there's no bind with the left arm, the hands on the ground. So, that's what we've seen, and we've watched a number of replays from different angles, and so it is what it is. We just have to accept it.
Not at all biased. Nigel Owen says it was perfectly fine.
Yeah, Wayne Barnes did as well. Let's get the thoughts of an England World Cup winner. Rocky Clark joins us. Hi, Rocky.
Hi, gents. Oh my goodness, what a weekend of sport, eh? And leaving it right till the last minute in the football and the rugby. But yeah, that last minute controversy with that call was massive. But for me, I kind of feel it was fair game. There was nowhere for Morgan to go on that clear out, and yeah, I would have said play on. So yeah, all fair. But you know, big call in that last minute. You can see why a lot of people are stressing out about it.
We've talked about this before, Rocky. It seems that all the top referees in world rugby have got their own little quirks. Every one of them has got things that they're very hot on, and you kind of need to know that going into the game. And I can't think of many sports where you have a situation like that. Maybe because there are so many laws in rugby and there are so many different ways to interpret them. But often, another referee on another day would have given it the other way.
Yeah, it's all down to interpretation. And what you do before a test game is you do your analysis on the opposition, but you also do your analysis on the referees as well. Exactly your point, what they're hot on, what they're not, what you can get away with, what boundaries you can push and what you can't. So they would have done their homework on that. And there was nowhere for Morgan to clear because he was clamped down over the top. I mean, yeah, there are arguments whether it was shoulder height or below, but you know, we've got the referees from Britain who are saying that it certainly was a legal hit. So yeah, it's, you know, they shouldn't have got that close for the Wallabies to lose it in the last play of the game. But, you know, full credit to the Lions who stuck at it, stuck with their process, went down from that 18-point deficit and were able to be clinical in that second half after a very poor start.
Andy Farrell apparently was very chilled at half-time and said, I still think we're going to win this. And the players, I mean, it wasn't just sort of emptily trying to get the players up for it. He really did feel they were going to get back in the game. Did you sense that, Rocky?
Well, I wonder if he'd have been saying the same if at half-time it was 23-5, but obviously they got back into the game with Curry and Jones and had closed that deficit to the 6 points. So I would have been interested if it had been that full 18, but it's a real game of momentum, rugby, and you could see obviously how the Wallabies scored 3 tries in 9 minutes. They had the front foot, great carries from Valentini and Skelts, who were getting them on that front foot, just playing at such a blistering pace, and it was really hard for the Lions to hold on to. But because they kept in that arm wrestle, because they got that score from Curry and Jones, they had that momentum then going into half-time, and you saw it as they came out. So, yeah, I can see why Andy said, I feel like we're going to win this.
We talk about the laws being controversial and complicated, but I was chatting to a Bath season ticket holder on Saturday night, and I've had a bugbear for a long time, and I was pleased that he agreed with me. The scrum at the end, when we were 2 points behind and the clock just ticked for nearly 3.5 minutes, that is a flaw in the sport. That is ludicrous. Why don't they just referee go time off? Okay, set the scrum. When the ball goes in, that's it. It just makes no sense that. It was so boring just watching them standing around and frustrating.
Yeah, and you know, as somebody who's played in the front row many a time, I would be frustrated in that front row because, you know, it is boring doing loads and loads of reset scrums, and, you know, whether they pause time or free kick it early doors, then maybe that would prevent some of it. But yeah, I can see how to the naked eye it's going to be frustrating, and you know, you want to see the ball being played away, and as a person from the front row, you want to, you know, it's a restart, you obviously want to contest it, but then you want to get into the action.
Somebody who's going to be getting some stick in the Aussie media if they read today's Times is former Lions skipper Sam Warburton. He didn't have a problem with that big moment. He's also kind of accused Carlo Tizzano in that moment of simulation, effectively saying
he pretended his head was big.
Well, I mean, on came the trainers and they were working at the top onto their head and everything, and he said there's no place for it in the game. I'm sure the Aussie press will pick up on it, but I mean, they were milking it slightly.
Well, yeah, I mean, only he will know how much it hurt and how much it affected him, whether he played on it or not. There is no place for play acting in rugby at all. That's why, you know, that's why the sport is so great. But yeah, only he'll know. So I can't answer that, but a tough one. But you know, you certainly know that those medics that are going to come on are going to do all they can to make sure that he's all right. And then, of course, referees and TMOs have to look at it if there has been a potential, head injury or head knock.
How much will they really want this to be a 3-0? It sounds like a daft question. I mean, do you expect the Aussies to roar back, or was it all kind of left out there on the field in Melbourne?
Yeah, I think the Wallabies came out so well, and perhaps they made their substitutes a little too early. Skelton at 47 minutes, and he was knackered, but he'd still taken loads of people to take him down. I think the Aussies have got to come out firing again. They really don't want to lose a 3-0. But Pollock, before they even started the text matches, was saying how they wanted to go through for a whitewash. So you could imagine the Lions are now absolutely pumped. They can come back from that massive deficit. They've got air blown in their tyres and they're ready to go. But I think we've just seen the change of Australian rugby now, and I think we're going to see big things come from them. So I wouldn't be surprised if they throw everything at it, but they can't punch themselves in the first 40-50 minutes. They've got to be able to play that full 80, or certainly get a bigger distance and not let in cheap tries.
We've got a Georgian referee for that third test, Amashud Kelly. What do we know about him? How does he like to referee? Is it a complete free for all, or what's his take on it normally?
Well, I don't know about the referee, but just even hearing Georgian, I'm thinking, right, this is going to have some extra spice to it. And we saw at the weekend how feisty and spicy the game was. There was quite a few scuffles, and so I'd imagine the Australians took some real aggression into the game. We saw Skelts with a late hit on Ty Furlong as well. So I imagine those little things will creep in for those mind games. So we'll probably see a bit more of it. 11
o'clock start in Sydney on Saturday. All our build-up live and exclusive on talkSPORT starts at 10. So you won a World Cup. You were part of a very successful England side. It's going to be interesting to see if the Lionesses' success has a bit of a knock-on effect for the Women's World Cup, which is just around the corner. It's just a focus on women's sport can't hurt, can it?
Absolutely. And, the momentum that we gained from the Lionesses from the 2022, women supporting women, men supporting women, is huge. And we've just seen the rise of the women's game, whether it's football or rugby, and rugby are on the coattails of those Lionesses, and the success that these female role models are getting is huge. So I think, all eyes were on. I think I saw 12.2 million tuned into BBC last night. So I think we're going to have similar figures as we go into the Women's Rugby World Cup.
And one of the chances, England's chances in the we often come up against the All Blacks, and that's always difficult. The Ferns, isn't it? Sorry. And it's difficult. The Aussies are good. There are some good rugby nations out there, even with home advantage.
Yeah, and having played in a home tournament, everything, the writing was on the wall that we were going to win it, and we lost it by 3 points. It was, one game can spoil your party, and the England team were on the end of losing. Obviously, the last World Cup, when they could have won it. They were down to 14, but they had a line out to win it in the last play. So pressure really builds, especially in a home World Cup. I think we're going to see so much momentum, so much coverage and media support as well, that it's going to be a lot for the players. But, we're expecting to see the Black Ferns do very well. They're a superb outfit, and their backs especially are very dangerous. France always notoriously very, very good. But I just wonder if Canada might be the little underdogs who can front up to England.
Interesting. Okay, we should. Yeah, Scotland and Wales are in there as well as Ireland, of course. Thank you, Rocky. I imagine we'll catch up with you later in the week. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, gents.
There we are, Rocky Clark. There, as we said, England World Cup winner, and as we said, 10 o'clock on talkSPORT. All the build-up starts to the third and final test, and that Women's World Cup gets underway towards the end of August, and that's all taking place in the UK as well. It's Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs here on talkSPORT. We did ask you about famous ancestors along the way that you've maybe you've not looked into the family tree, but you're told these things. This is because Benito Mussolini, not the plumber, his great grandson will be playing in Serie A next season. And you've been telling us some of your stories. Where's it gone? There was a couple of good ones. We got loads of them. Oh, yes. My 13 times great-grandfather, says Richard on the Wirral, was Lord Chief Justice Sir John Popham, who, amongst others, sentenced Guy Fawkes to death. He's also Speaker of the House of Commons.
Wow.
And I don't know if you know about Guy Fawkes. When they captured him, they knew there was a bit of skullduggery going on. They captured him and said, "What's your name?" And he said, "John Johnson."
Really?
It's the first name he could think of. Like some kid trying to get into Spoons on a Friday night in a town centre. What's your... how old are you? When's your birthday? 15th of March, 1970. If I make you 50, mate, look at it, you're 18. If you're not even 18. So maybe if you want to add to the list from this is fake names you made up on the spur of the moment. Do you still get like a bit of a cold sweat or a hot flush? Whatever the feeling was when you think of, in that moment, I made up that name. Why did I say that? Why did I say that name? You must have made up a name over the years, Andy.
Yes, Ernie Jenkins.
You don't look like an Ernie Jenkins.
Yeah, but because what happened, I used to ring people up and I'd say, "It's Andy Jacobs here," and they'd say, "Ernie Jenkins." So then I thought, I'm just going to say Ernie Jenkins. It's easier.
Well, this is Hawksbee and Jenkins. I'm
right.
Paul Hawksbee, this is Ernie Jenkins, and we're going to be talking transfers next. And, wow, what about this? Newcastle in talks with Aaron Ramsdale.
Yeah, interesting.
Had a good season at Southampton.
Make a change for him not to be relegated.
Probably won't be quite as busy. Blimey, yeah. So, but he had a very good season. Maybe he was their best player, and they still absolutely battered every week.
He's a good keeper.
So, we'll look into that story and indeed other transfer stories very shortly with Ben Jacobs. We're here with Tool Station, delivering as little as 30 minutes with Fast Track. Next stop, Tool Station. So, as we were just telling you, Aaron Ramsdale attracting interest from Newcastle. Maybe we should just kick off there, as Ben Jacobs is going to cover some ground for us on the transfer front. Hi, Ben.
Good afternoon, gents. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you. I don't know how advanced this is. What's your understanding?
Yeah, my understanding is that Newcastle have made a formal approach to sign Aaron Ramsdale, and the structure of the deal is a loan with a buy option. Ramsdale is believed to be open to the move, so it will all come down to Southampton's valuation. At this stage, the formula does appear to be a loan first, although the clubs are in ongoing talks. And what I can also tell you is that earlier in the window, Ramsdale turned down an approach from Sunderland, which adds to the sort of intrigue. And if he ends up joining Newcastle, will no doubt go well with the Magpies fan base. So this is an ongoing situation, but Newcastle are now pushing for Ramsdale in light of the fact that they've lost out on James Trafford to Manchester City.
It's an interesting one, really, because they've got Pope, who they don't really trust with his feet. You know, he's a good keeper, but you could also make the same, not accusation, but the same criticism of Ramsdale. He's a very good keeper, but one of the reasons Arsenal got rid of him, because they preferred Raya, because he's better with his feet, as you have to be in the modern game. So it's a bit slight surprise, I think, from that point of view.
Yeah, I think Newcastle see Ramsdale as not just the right kind of fit, even though, as you say, there might be some question marks over his distribution, but also an excellent character. And Eddie Howe likes a more experienced kind of goalkeeper. Age-wise, he's at peak age for a goalkeeper. Experience-wise, he's got a lot of games under his belt. Martin Dubravka is still there, and so is Nick Pope. But given the fact that Nick Pope has had problems with injuries, adding another senior goalkeeper, very important. Trafford was the one they really wanted, because that kind of age profile gives you kind of a number one for the now and the future. Whereas obviously the aspect of this deal, if it comes off, that's going to be intriguing is which goalkeeper is unhappy. And I can still foresee a scenario between Pope and Dubravka where one of them does end up asking to leave due to the fact that they'll know this type of profile and age of goalkeeper may mean that somebody's minutes get significantly diminished, whereas maybe had Trafford come in, there was still the possibility that Nick Pope would start the season as number one and Trafford would be prepared to wait. I don't see Ramsdale moving unless he's given guarantees he's coming in immediately as the number one, so it definitely calls into question the future, or at least the minutes of Nick Pope.
Now, Dominic Calvert-Lewin is a free agent, having left Everton. They were talking about Milan. Newcastle were being mentioned. Now, Villa apparently showing an interest, and that does make you wonder, Ben, around all this noise on Ollie Watkins.
Yeah, I'm led to believe for now that Aston Villa are assessing targets. Their position with Ollie Watkins is quite genuine, that they prefer not to sell if they get a replacement. You never know. Manchester United have Watkins on their radar. They've held some initial talks, but by the same token, there's a big push internally around Benjamin Sesko. Either way, whatever direction Manchester United go in, they're going to have to rely on outgoings. And as a consequence, we probably have to be patient for anything Manchester United related. But coming back to Dominic Calvert-Lewin, I think the Newcastle interest is there in theory. I wouldn't say he's top of their list. They're working on Benjamin Sesko. They want to get Johan Wisser over the line. They're considering Nicholas Jackson. Lois Openda at Leipzig is another possibility. Calvert-Lewin, there's two issues. The first is the fact Newcastle have concerns about how fit he can stay. And the second is, even as a free agent, the wage is still quite high. Milan are looking to be opportunistic, but I think from Dominic Calvert-Lewin's perspective, he'll want to go and play European football, and immediately Milan don't have that. Juventus made an inquiry. Calvert-Lewin was offered to Manchester United, and the same for Aston Villa as well. But the big thing in all of this, I think, is even though as a free agent, Calvert-Lewin should be able to push for quite a healthy package, there's concerns from suitors about what he wants versus how many games he'll play. Villa could become a possibility. Manchester United haven't really shown that much interest. And as for Newcastle United, maybe later in the window they'll return to Calvert-Lewin if they miss out on other targets. But for now, it seems like they're putting all of their efforts on Benjamin Sesko to see whether they can get that deal over the line, knowing that they face potentially competition from Manchester United.
Now Diaz looks like it's done and Liverpool cleared the decks a little bit more. You're expecting a bit of movement on Alexander Isak this week?
Yeah, I am. And again, I think, as I said in the last answer, if Newcastle can find a replacement or two, it may open the door. You've got this sort of odd paradox of slight fear on the Newcastle side from sources of this bid and extreme caution from Liverpool about placing a bid. And my understanding is that Liverpool don't really want to make that formal bid unless they're pretty much told to their faces that Newcastle are now reluctant sellers. The last thing Liverpool want to do is put a British transfer record bid down blindly, only to be told again not for sale, because it causes a lot of hype, friction on the player side, and you still don't get anywhere. And therefore, if Liverpool bid, my understanding is they'll do so with confidence, and therefore the snowball will be in motion to a likely exit. And that's what's going to be determined in the next few days. There's other steps here. First is Newcastle replacement. Second is potentially a Nunez exit. And then from there, we might see Liverpool start to get moving. So there's definitely intent to sign Alexander Isak. But whether it gets done today or tomorrow, as opposed to slightly later in the window, still remains to be seen.
Randall Colomwani looked like he was off to Juve. Does it seem more likely to end up somewhere in Italy or elsewhere in Europe?
United interested in him?
Yeah, United showing an interest. Is there much?
Yeah, Manchester united are definitely interested in Kolo Muani. That's concrete. But by the same token, the player wants Juventus. He was on loan there, so he's obviously had a bit of try before you can buy, and so have Juve. And I still think that PSG will allow this one to be sanctioned eventually. First and foremost, PSG want clear the decks with a few players, Kolo Muani and even Asensio too, because they want to add another striker. And I wouldn't discount a late consideration from PSG for Benjamin Sesko as well, which is why some of the Premier League clubs working on that deal are trying to push it quickly, because there's a real feeling that if Leipzig drop the price for Sesko from over 80 million euros to closer to 70, it's business, because PSG have been quite slow in the market with incomings, but they want to make more signings. So Kolo Muani to Juventus is the most likely scenario. And again, late in the window, if that move doesn't come off, don't discount Manchester United. But at the moment, I think they've got other targets, because they either want a young profile like Sesko or names with proven Premier League experience.
And just very quickly, just a brief one, Gabriel Jesus to Tottenham has been suggested by one. I can't. It seems the unlikeliest one of the day. What do you think?
Yeah, I think the unlikeliest one of the day. I wouldn't discount Gabby Jesus' exit entirely. We've also heard links with Brazil, which at the moment are wide of the mark. I think a lot of agents have suddenly realised that Andrea Berta might be prepared to sanction this exit, and that's why we're hearing everyone under the sun, from Brazilian clubs to Tottenham Hotspur. I'm not aware of any concrete club that's actually approached Arsenal yet, but what I am aware of is that Andrea Berta has opened the door to an exit, so it's certainly one to keep an eye on in the next few weeks.
Good stuff. Thank you, Ben.
Cheers, guys.
Ben Jacobs there with the latest on the transfer market. We have the Transfer Insiders tonight from 7 p.m. Natalie Sawyer and Rory Jennings. You can check out our live transfer blog over on talkSPORT too.
I don't think it'd be a good deal for Spurs, though.
No.
He's very injury prone. He doesn't score goals.
It's just, I mean, and kind of, we've got that in Richarlison.
Yeah.
The two of them could look, just get on really well in the sick bay, couldn't they, at Spurs? That's sensational, Tony. That's what we're after. And those names you had to make up on the spur of the moment, much like we were talking about Guy Fawkes. We had a relative of the man who sentenced Guy Fawkes to death. Sorry, keep it light, lads. But when he was captured, they said, "What's your name?" And he said, "John Johnson." Just like he was trying to get into a pub late at night when he was just had to come up with a name. Talksport.com, text 1889, tweet TSH and J 03717223344. Have you still got those little moments where you had to come up with a name off the top of your head and it gives you a cold sweat? Let us know.
England are going to kick off their Euro celebrations back in the UK with a reception at Downing Street after beating Spain in a nail-biting penalty shootout. Chloe Kelly, the hero for the Lionesses in 2022, reprised her role for the big moments and buried the decisive penalty to seal the 3-1 result. talkSPORT's Adrian Durham tells us, although it was a chaotic route to victory, this squad should never be overlooked.
I mean, when you look back, could you say they were the best team? Well, they've won the tournament, and that's all that matters.
Yep.
There might have been other teams played better. This England side had a depth in the squad, a character and a spirit that none of the others could match, and it's seen them through to victory in the end.
The Lionesses are then set for an open-top bus parade celebration in central London tomorrow, followed by a ceremony outside Buckingham Palace. One player who was considered a real pillar of strength for the squad was Hannah Hampton. As well as saving 2 pens, she was actually born with an eye condition, which means she has no depth perception, and she was told she could never play professional sport. Hampton told talkSPORT what this win means to the squad.
It doesn't matter what gets thrown at us, we'll come out on top. And yeah, today being able to lift that trophy is, I don't know, it's a real reward for all the determination, hard work, and just the grit that we've shown throughout this tournament to keep ourselves going when everything's been thrown against us.
Meanwhile, Lucy Bronze revealed after the game that she actually played the entire tournament with a fractured tibia. Just as well, her government middle name is Tough. Yep, Lucy Tough Bronze. Serena Wiegmann had nothing but praise for her resilience.
Of course, we try to manage that. But when you play on the 20 minutes, you're not managing it, aren't you? Are you? So, no, yeah, I told you, Lucy Bronze is just, her mentality is like, I think the whole team has an incredible mentality, but she has a crazy mentality. It's unbelievable.
And Luke Littler becomes the youngest ever Triple Crown winner after taking the world match play title. The teen sensation outgunned James Wade 18-13. He also shattered more records with 64 180s, the most ever in the tournament. For more on these stories, head to talksport.com.
Good afternoon, Paul Hawksbee and Ernie Jenkins, isn't it?
That's me.
Your pseudonym?
Yeah.
Do you ever still use it, Ernie?
Not really.
Little Ern?
No, I'm little. No, I haven't used it for a long time.
It's a shame. In what circumstances was it used?
I was on Twitter as Alan Jenkins for many years.
Yeah.
It was my also alter
There's a lot of people saying, yeah, and that makes a lot of sense. We're going to have a chat with Troy Deeney later on. Troy's, we're going to talk a bit of football, of course. He's got a big interview coming up tonight. He'll tell us more about that. And he's going to be in Celebrity SAS. Who Dares Wins.
Yeah, who dares watch it? Not me.
You can take that up with him.
Yeah, really.
Bayo Akinfenwa was in it as well.
Great.
Yeah. Well,
not my sort of thing.
Let's talk to another man who played up front with distinction. We're going to talk a bit of Lionesses in his role in women's football these days. Former Liverpool, England, Leicester City striker Emil Heskey. Hi, Emil.
Hi guys, how you doing?
Not so bad.
Good, thanks.
Over the years, you must have been offered a bit of reality TV with your level of celebrity. Have you ever succumbed to it? What have you done?
No, it's not for me, that.
Never Strictly?
No, I'm good. I'm a good dancer, but no, thank you.
No.
I'd rather do Strictly than Celebrity SAS, whatever it's called.
Yeah, okay. Well, you sound like an avid viewer. So, this is the time of year with the school holidays when everybody's off doing football camps and stuff, and you're doing a bit with Kellogg's at the moment. They're out and about in the country, aren't they?
Yeah, Kellogg's I've got football camps up and down the country. They've got 30,000 free places for kids. They're just trying to encourage kids to stay active during the summer break. We all know it's a difficult time for parents, so they've got 30,000 free places.
Oh, fantastic. Wow. So how do people get on these? How do they go about getting on them, Emil?
So they've probably got boxes of Kellogg's in their cupboards. There'll be a QR code on there. They just need to scan that and they've got a chance to enter and win a free place.
Fantastic. That sounds great. Have you been doing a bit of coaching? today?
Yeah, I've been on the pitch today up in Wigan today, so it's been nice. It's funny because there's been quite a few girls joining in, which has been fantastic.
They must be.
They must be. I mean, I imagine that's been the talk of the group, isn't it? The kids must be absolutely buzzing after that yesterday.
Yeah, they are. A couple that are wanting to play for Wigan as well, and then obviously wanting to play for the Lionesses. And it's always nice to see them doing well and encouraging all girls up and down the country to join in and play football.
Now, you're head of football development at Leicester City for the women's team. So this is great for you, isn't it, to encourage?
I was.
You're not doing that now.
No longer there, but I was. Yeah, but yeah, it's great for the whole country, to be honest with you. Having been in that role before and watched the growth of the women's game, not only in Leicester but the whole country, to see them go back to back is just phenomenal.
How important was that last European win when you were working in and around women's football?
Huge, because again, it gives an emphasis on what you're trying to achieve, not only in Leicester but across the whole country. We're trying to get more and more playing, especially at a grassroots level. We're trying to build the foundation, and we managed to do that, and it's going from strength to strength.
It's great, isn't it? And it's not just playing, because you saw all the fans, the Vox Pops afterwards. So many women, girls tending the matches. That's what we want for both games, both codes, men's and women's. And we have had, I was saying before, we've had a lot of success this summer. We went with the Europa League holders, that's Tottenham, Conference League, the Women's Euros, the Club World Cup, and the Women's Champions League. So it's been a good time for English football.
Yeah, it's been fantastic, and it's growing, and it's growing even more. So when you look at the WSL, how well they're doing and how that's growing, everyone wants to be in the WSL, and it's great to see.
So we thought we'd talk a bit of Liverpool. I mean, we say it's interesting times. The turnover of players, and it looks as if they're going to be in for Isak. And if they get him, it's not looking like a fair fight, really, is it? With a business that they've already done.
I think it's great that they've got a lot of business done before the season had finished, and now look at going into pre-season. Well, coming towards the end of pre-season, that they got even the big ones coming as well. It was one that, if you'd asked me last season who would I take, he was the player that I would have said. It was great to see they can finally get this one to a point where it's looking like it's going to come. Only one they bought last season, so they had plenty of wriggle room with the PSR to actually go out and spend big, and they have done this season.
Yeah, it's a mad old merry-go-round. We're just talking about Benjamin Sesko. He could go here. All these dominoes have got to fit into place for, if they go for that player. Although we thought that about Ekitike, that it was going to be some, and suddenly there he rocks up at Liverpool as well. But it's good time to be an in-demand striker. Gyökeres is out of the picture, having gone to Arsenal, but interesting times.
You should have been playing now, Emil.
Yeah,
I would have loved to have been playing now.
70 million minimum, I'd say.
Yeah, easily. So, Leicester, it was a tough old season last season. What do they need to do or under new management, what do they need to do to bounce back, Emil?
I think stabilise. I think it's been a rocky few years, having to sell players now to really get under the PSR as well. I think now we've got some really exciting young players, and I think this is the key thing for me, is watching them grow. For far too long we haven't really put emphasis on the young players coming through, but now we got Mongo, we got players like that who are coming through that look really exciting. And I can really start championing that. I don't think it's going to be an easy season. I don't see us coming straight back up. But I think it's stabilising now with a manager that enjoys playing the youth, and an emphasis on ball retention.
Jamie Vardy's name has popped up a few times, Emil, around, like a kind of wild card purchase for maybe some of the promoted clubs or some other Premier League clubs as a sort of backup striker. You still think he's capable of that? You still think he could cut it at that level?
Yeah, I still think he's capable, but I think you used the right word there, backup striker. I don't think you're going to go and get a striker who's 38 and be the main one. I think he can be a backup, especially with his experience and passing some of the knowledge on to some of the players, that some of the forwards in the teams as well.
Yeah, I mean, he was still at times last year very effective, wasn't he?
Oh,
That nous, you can't buy that,
wasn't he?
In this season, so playing that many games back to back is not going to be easy. But I think if you're playing him as a backup striker, but I think he's still got a year or two to play.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Good stuff, Emil. Good to talk to you. Thanks very much for joining us. All the best. There we are. This Emil Heskey there, former Liverpool, Leicester and England striker, doing his bit of the football camps with Kellogg's.
I think that all the football camps are going to be busy this summer.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And I think a little, I remember, I mentioned it before, going back to 2005 when my youngest boy was still very young and was playing cricket at our local club. After 2005, the following week, it was packed. These kids had turned up to have a net, and quite a few of them fell by the wayside, but some stayed.
Yeah,
and so I think things like yesterday and good showings for the men's team, as we've seen in World Cups and Euros, just attracts more kids to want to give it a try, and this is the perfect time of year to do it.
How many letters are we going to get this week? They show the men what to do.
Oh yeah. We often get.
Don't bother to write those. We already know that.
Comparisons. That's very true. About 15 years ago, our Sunday League manager was away, so I filled in for him. I was putting the team sheet in, didn't know our midfielder Tommy's last name. One of the lads shouted out, "It's Sauce," and I put it down. They kept a straight face as I wrote it. It wasn't until a month later I realised, of course, I'd written down Tommy Sauce. Says Gator in Pompey. This is John Johnson, Guy Fawkes came up with when captured. I suppose knowing you were probably likely to be hung, drawn and quartered at the end of it, you would slightly panic. It's not really like someone trying to get hold of your name, with a fake ID, is it really? The jeopardy's that much higher, being told off by your mum. And so talksport.com, text 1889, tweet TSH&J. What have we got here? All of my regular made-up names come from the Clips of the Week contributors. Yeah. Well, yeah.
They are some fantastic
Thank you, Daniel. Course, some of them ridiculous. My great nan is, or I'm guessing was, two different stories, Florence Nightingale.
Wow.
As a result, we've got a lifetime of free entry to the Florence Nightingale Museum. To be honest, you only really need to go once. Yeah, all my family are medical apart from me, says the listener involved. Didn't put their name on it. I'm guessing it's somebody.
What happened to the lamp?
What happened to a distant relative of mine, says Andy in Newcastle, was Bobby Matthewson, who was the referee that sent off Kevin Keegan and Billy Bremner in the Charity Shield when they had a fight. Yeah, that's great. That's a nice one. Thank you, Andy, for that. So this is because Benito Mussolini's great-great-grandson is going to be playing in Serie A for Cremonese next season. He says the name, other people are more bothered about it than me. Although I suppose when you book a table in a restaurant, it must be, what's the name, said? Oh, Mussolini.
Yeah.
It's going to make you, any relation? Yeah, funny enough.
Make you sit up, isn't it?
Funny enough, it is. Yes, no, I'm not believing Mick in Northumberland. Well, I mean, look, let me read it out to you in good faith. My great uncle was the coach and horse driver when Archduke Ferdinand was assassinated.
No, really?
So, I mean, what was the route then from Sarajevo for a bloke who was effectively a cabbie to Northumberland? Mick, I want you to flesh that out. I want your homework in by 4 o'clock this afternoon.
He's related to Les Ferdinand. Everybody knows that.
Who was Archduke Les Ferdinand? Yeah. Okay. Well, they call him Sir Les, so maybe they should. It'd slightly balk you, wouldn't it? You don't want to be the bloke who instigated World War One.
Not really.
Les doesn't want to be known for that, does he?
No, not really.
You want a bit of transfer news, Andy?
Oh yeah. What have you got?
Manchester United. This is all coming in thick and fast. I've got my teleprompter here.
Okay.
Manchester United have registered an interest in Benjamin Sesko. Yeah, what about that?
Oh yeah, not surprising.
talkSPORT understands any move for him will depend on them selling Garnacho, Anthony and Sancho, which they plan to do anyway, don't they?
Yeah,
if they can offload them.
No, on the weekend, Amarim said, well, if we can't get rid of them, I'm prepared to reintegrate. You go, chinny record, mate.
Yeah.
You're not.
Yeah, no, you're not. But
they're trying to keep the price up.
Couldn't you play well at the weekend? look pretty
I mean,
decent.
look, the United fans got quite encouraged by that result, but you've got to remember, first of all, it's pre-season, and second of all, I think West Ham have got problems for next season. I think they're going to be, so beating West Ham may not be the result it seems to be, but we'll see.
We are understandably celebrating women's sport today. We're going to talk a bit of women's golf next. We've got the Open coming up later this week. But there's an interesting story from the Scottish Open. Another one of those stories where, as a player, you can't collect the winnings if you're an amateur. So it's been quite an expensive little period, but has turned out quite nicely. For Lottie Woad, the English player. We'll be chatting to Dame Laura Davis about that and other matters in a few moments' time. We're here, of course, with our good friends at Toolstation this summer. Shop Toolstation's award-winning Hawksbee lawnmower range. Lawnmower range. In store, on app, and online. Next stop, Toolstation. Good afternoon, Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs here on talkSPORT. Still to come this afternoon, Victor Marks joins us from the world of cricket, and we're going to be talking about his new book, The Cricket Captains of England, see where Ben Stokes ranks amongst the greats in Vic's eyes, and Troy Deeney on celebrity SAS Who Dares Wins, which he's taking part in. Not the only footballer, but anyway, we'll find out a bit about that and discuss some other football matters, and he'll reveal who he's going to interview later on. A bit of a big name, well, one of the biggest names from the world of sport. But before that, we're going to talk a bit of golf. And the Women's Open gets underway at Royal Porthcawl later this week. We just had the Scottish Open, and a very interesting story has emerged from it. Remember the name, as Clive Tilson once said.
Very much so.
Lottie Woad, who has had a memorable few weeks. She could have been over £1 million pounds richer had things gone her way, but she hasn't done too badly out the Scottish Open either. But yeah, she's a name to look out for. Here to tell us more about it. Actually, let's hear from Lottie first. Yeah, she was chatting to the media after winning the Scottish Open. This is what she had to say.
pretty good outcome, I guess. Definitely wasn't expecting to win my first event, but I was, knew I was playing well, so just kind of hoping to contend and just played really solid today. And it was pretty nice in the end. I could lay up on the par 5. I didn't know I'd got level. I knew it was probably quite tight because I was only a couple under at the turn, but then when I had the 2 birdies early on in the back 9, I kind of knew I'd probably got a little bit of a lead by then.
Yes, it was their first pro event, and it was quite lucrative for her as well. Yeah, Dame Laura Davis joins us now. Good afternoon, Laura.
Good afternoon, Paul, Andy.
Yeah, this sounds like we kind of think back over the years. Charlie Hull was the big name from women's golf after you, and now maybe Lottie Woad is a name for people to remember.
Oh, without a doubt, yeah. I mean, it's pretty extraordinary what she's doing. I mean, it's not unprecedented. Rose Yang a couple of years ago won her first event, but the way Lottie's done this, I mean, she had to stay amateur for long enough because she needed that extra point at the Evian just to get qualified for the LPGA. So although it seemed like she was good enough, she just wanted to guarantee her spot on the LPGA Tour next year. So it seemed expensive at the time, but now I think all that's forgotten about. Now she's won the Scottish Open as a pro, and it's fabulous to see a young English girl doing so well.
So, yeah, £400,000 she could have got the Evian. Had she gone into the playoff at the end, it could have been $1 million. At the Irish Open, 58,000 she had to say no to because she was amateur. Andy, you have a theory on this?
I do have a theory about this.
Hit Laura with it.
I don't understand why golf doesn't put this money in trust for the player when they turn professional. It seems unfair. They've won the money. Why shouldn't they get the money at some point? Right, they can't get it while they're amateur, but it seems. And what happens to the money if they don't get it, if it's not put into trust?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's an interesting idea, and I'm sure something worth looking at down the line. But what happens is, say for instance, that third place money she won, say it was I don't know exactly the amount, but probably 300,000 or 400,000, as you say, that would go down to the next pro. So it kind of drops down. The amateur comes out of the money completely, and that money goes to the next pro. And it's just the way they've done it all over the years. But you know what? There's a good time to change all things, and maybe what Lottie's done, and it happens on the men's tour as well. Maybe it is a good idea to put it into trust.
Yeah, that would seem
fair, really. But actually, were you aware of her? I mean, obviously, the general public, people like us, she's sort of come from nowhere, but presumably people have been talking about it, a bit like Luke Littler before he sort of hit it big. They've been talking about her for some time.
Yeah, I mean, she's kind of a local girl to me. She plays up the road. I think it's Farnham Golf Club she's a member of. But, yeah, there's been whispers about her for quite some time, and obviously her amateur record. I think the first time she came to everyone's proper notice was when she won the tournament at Augusta. The amateur girls play a tournament with the final round being at Augusta National. And she won that a few years ago, finishing with 3 birdies in the last 4 holes. And everyone sort of sat up and thought, oh, who's this? And obviously being an English girl, I was really interested. And she just kept going nice and slowly, building herself up. And as I said, she stayed amateur for the amount of time she did to make sure that she didn't have to go to the tour school, because nowadays they make it easier for these top amateurs to go straight into the pro ranks, so we don't lose them to a tour school situation, which is high-pressured stuff. So, yeah, she's been bubbling below the surface for a good while.
Got to take this advantage while we've got you on, Laura, and golf fans listening. Happy Gilmore 2 dropped on Netflix. It is so funny.
Have you watched it?
Watched it? It's so brilliant, and it's just full of cameos from legends of the game. The greatest players you could imagine are in this film, sort of taking the mickey out of themselves.
I understand some of the performances are better than others.
Some are, but they basically make the old players to be great, and the modern players are like really selfish, and the way they go along with it. There's a dinner, and they start behaving appallingly at the dinner. The modern players, it's very clever. But
it sounds about right. That does. That sounds about the way they've nailed that.
Well, any golf fan will love it. I promise you. I really enjoy it.
I've downloaded it. I'm ready to watch it on my next journey. I'm definitely going to watch it.
Yeah,
brilliant.
So, who do you fancy for the Open? There's plenty of English interest in there as well, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean, just by the form of Lottie, I mean, she's 50. I think she's something like 55 under par for her last 12 rounds, which is incredible run she's put together. So I would have Lottie up there as one of the favourites, because I mean the Scottish Open had Nelly Corder and a host of really good LPGA stars there, and they're all going to transfer over to this week now at the AIG. So it'd be the usual suspects, but you have to, incredibly, after a run of 3 weeks, you have to put Lottie in amongst them. And I'm going up and commentating for Sky. I'm really looking forward to seeing it.
That would be some story, wouldn't it? She said she'd not played a lot of links golf. She rarely plays. I mean, you wouldn't have thought so from the way she performed. But what's Royal Porthcawl like to play?
It depends on the weather. It can be a nice, gentle round of golf if there's no wind. That's very rare though. And if the wind gets up, it's such a narrow golf course in that there's a lot of blind tee shots, and around the middle of the course, lots of gorse bushes. You can get yourself into trouble. We used to play the Welsh Open there a few years back, and it is a real test of golf. So if you haven't got your best stuff, you're going to struggle, especially, like I said, if it gets windy. You don't want the rain. That would kind of ruin it for everybody. But a nice bit of wind up there to really test these top players. And
we spoke to Leanne Sanderson about the Lionesses earlier on. We chatted to Rocky Clark about the England rugby team and the World Cup coming along. It's a bit of a celebration of women's sport today, and I'm sure there is a knock-on effect in all sports. There are sort of young girls out there at the moment thinking, in whatever sport, whether it's golf, rugby, football, whatever, you can go on, you can make a career, you can, make...
Yeah, got away from it and went and watched it on the... on my computer, and it was so exciting. I mean, I must admit, when I joined it looked like Spain were all over us, but they've got something a little bit special about them, those girls. And the penalty shootout, I hate penalty shootouts, but we won it, so who cares now?
So many of the men footballers play golf. I wonder how many of the women footballers, I wonder how many of the Lionesses. Have you played with any of the Lionesses?
No, I don't know. I know some of the cricketers, because we did a golf and cricket thing a few years back. So some of the England cricketers used to, I know, played a bit of golf. The footballers, I really don't know any of them, but I'd be surprised if they didn't, because it seems to be a good fit. A lot of, like you say, a lot of the guys are really good players themselves, and they do have time after training to go and do other bits. So yeah, let's hope they do love the game.
Excellent. Enjoy the Open, Laura. Thanks very much.
Laura.
Thank you very much.
Dame Laura Davis there, golf legend, and I'm sure we'll be keeping you in touch with the Women's Open that gets underway at Royal Porthcawl later this week. Now, another pastime, of course, for footballers is a bit of fishing. And tomorrow on talkSPORT, we'll be hearing from some of the biggest names in sport at the Target Sports Stars Fishing Championship. 32 competitors take to the lake at the Tunnel Barn Fishery in Shrewley. They battle out to become the 2025 champion. All money raised will be going to the fantastic Willow charity, who help seriously ill young adults make precious memories.
Great charity.
Bob and Megs Wilson, fantastic charity. Big names in attendance include newly crowned world match play champion Luke Littler. Luke's going to be there.
God, he was brilliant.
I watched a bit Saturday night against Josh Rock, and he was really struggling. He made slow starts in both those games, didn't he?
Amazing. He's amazing.
But yeah, that 9-dart checkout was something pretty special. Former super middleweight world champion George Groves will be taking part. And tomorrow on White and Jordan will be hearing from both world match play finalists James Wade.
He played very well as well.
He did. And former boxer George Groves from the Tunnel Barn Fishery. That's tomorrow from 10. They will also be at the Victory Parade, the guys, and we'll keep you in touch with that as it all unfolds, and we'll have all the fallout. I think it starts around 12 and wraps up just before we come on air at 1, but we will be reacting to it, myself and Charlie. And we'll keep talking Lionesses later on with Tash Dowie, your co-commentator, alongside Joe Shannon on the England games at the tournament. But we're going to be having a chat with Vic Marks very shortly. His new book, The Cricket Captains of England, is out now. And then Troy Deeney joining us for a chat.
England are going to kick off their Euro celebrations back in the UK with a reception at Downing Street after beating Spain in a nail-biting penalty shootout. Chloe Kelly, the hero for the Lionesses in 2022, reprised her role for the big moments and buried the decisive penalty to seal the 3-1 result. talkSPORT's Adrian Durham tells us, although it was a chaotic route to victory, this squad should never be overlooked.
I mean, when you look back, could you say they were the best team? Well, they've won the tournament, and that's all that matters.
Yep.
There might have been other teams played better. But this England side had a depth in the squad, a character and a spirit that none of the others could match, and it's seen them through to victory in the end.
The Lionesses are then set for an open-top bus parade celebration in central London tomorrow, followed by a ceremony outside Buckingham Palace. Meanwhile, Lucy Bronze revealed after the game that she actually played the entire tournament with a fractured tibia. Just as well, her government middle name is Tough. Yep, Lucy Tough Bronze. Serena Wiegmann had nothing but praise for her resilience.
Lucy Bronze is just, her mentality is like, I think the whole team has an incredible mentality, but she has a crazy mentality. It's unbelievable.
And Luke Littler becomes the youngest ever Triple Crown winner after taking the world match play title. For more on these stories, head to talksport.com.
Power on talkSPORT. Check out Paddy's latest offers on the Paddy Power app or at paddypower.com. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
Yes, the Goodwood Festival starts tomorrow, and we're delighted to say we'll be bringing you commentaries throughout the afternoon from tomorrow and the rest of the week. Let's preview the week's racing with Joe Logue from Paddy Power. Hi, Joe.
Hi, lads. Thanks for having me back on. It's good to be here. Yeah, like you said, look, there's a massive week ahead. Like you said, there's Goodwood is on, and over this side of the water in Ireland, Galway Festival, big cultural event in Ireland. There's 90 races over the week with the two festivals combined. Goodwood starting tomorrow and Tuesday, while Galway starts this evening with the first race off at 5:10. The first race there, look, it's a 2-mile novice hurdle, and real horse of note here is Davy Crockett in the Silks of JP McManus, trained by Willie Mullins. He catches the eye here as he's a half brother to the 2024 Supreme Novice Hurdle winner at Cheltenham, Mystical Power. He ended up winning this race 2 years ago, and it's likely to go that way again with Davy Crockett, who's a very sharp price to replicate his half brother's triumphs. He's currently second favourite in the Supreme Novice Hurdle market at Cheltenham for 2026, and he's one for punters to keep an eye on going forward into the season. It looks like it could be a really tough start for bookies, to be honest. Raki in the second race at Galway is a very sharp price favourite to win the handicap, again trained by Willie Mullins. While in the third race, a horse called Constitution River for Aidan O'Brien, Ryan Moore teams up. He ran a cracker at Newmarket on debut when he was beaten by a horse called Distance Storm, and if Constitution River can replicate that run, he looks very hard to overturn here. I think the punters are going to be all over the treble tonight. That's Davy Crockett, Raki and Constitution River. I think the bookies could struggle today, to be honest. And like you said, Goodwood starts tomorrow and the Vintage Stakes. That's the race that appeals to me most. And Laureate Crown for Hugo Palmer won very impressively first time out at Ascot. He was coming from the back of the field. He passed every single horse to get his head in front. And for me, he's my best bet at Tuesday. He's currently a price 12-1. That's Laureate Crown in the second race at Goodwood.
Brilliant, Joe. I'm sure we'll catch up during the week, but for now, thanks very much.
Absolutely. Thanks, lads.
If you want to keep up with all the latest racing news, especially during Goodwood and Galway, Paddy Power's From the Horse's Mouth podcast is available every week, and you can download the latest podcast and the latest episode from your usual podcast provider now. 18 plus, begambleaware.org.
Paddy Power on talkSPORT. Check out Paddy's latest offers on the Paddy Power app or at paddypower.com. 18 plus, begambleaware.org.
Now, back in the day, the author Alan Gibson wrote a seminal work, Cricket Captains of England, 1877 to 1979. That's been reissued this week, along with a new book, Cricket Captains of England 1979 to 2025. So yeah, I'm showing it to the camera.
Yep.
Picking up the baton is the former England and Somerset off-spinner and broadcaster, of course, Vic Marks. Good afternoon, Vic.
Good afternoon.
Yes.
So this is a sequel to quite a famous book, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's a book I read, Alan's book, about 40, 50 years ago. And it was quite a daunting prospect to follow him because he's a brilliant writer, one of the best there ever was, I think, whether in newspapers or in book form. But I got to know him a little bit in his old age. So that was one attraction. But I've said, and it says somewhere on the book, I used to play at Somerset, and I had the burden of going out to bat after Botham and Richards. Okay. Well, this is a sort of literary equivalent. I'm following, stupidly, Alan Gibson. But in my favour is I've not got such a long period to cover. Mm-hmm. And actually, it covers my playing career. I played with and against some of these England captains, and then after that, I was in a press box or a commentary box. So I've got reasonable access, but I'm not sure I've got the literary skills of Alan Gibson, but I've done it, and it's come out.
You'd imagine that the captaincy is often dependent on the players that the captain's got to deal with, but we had that thing, didn't we, where Botham was the captain, it didn't work, he got the sack, Brearley came in, and the rest is history. And so obviously the captain is a pretty important figure.
Absolutely. But timing is very important. I'm looking back at the captains I was covering. I began with Mike Brearley, who was clearly a brilliant captain, but the timing was also pretty damn good. As he would himself admit, England didn't play the West Indies while Breers was captain, who were the best team in the world by a huge margin, added to which Brearley was lucky enough to have the young Botham and the young Gower, for that matter, not to mention Bob Willis, but the young Botham, who was greedy, hungry, desperate to do well. So all that worked in his favour, but my goodness me, he exploited it well. So the captaincy is clearly important, and it's quite interesting now. We've got Ben Stokes as captain, and everyone was saying, well, there's two reasons why this is not a good idea. Botham and Flintoff are the shorthand for the reason why, because it didn't work with either of those. But of course, Stokes has proven that it's not that simple to make your best all-rounder, your most charismatic cricketer. In this case, magnificently, can also be a brilliant captain. So it's a fascinating subject, but everyone does it differently. And if you, as a captain, if you try and be someone else, you're in that dressing room far too long, and it doesn't work. You've got to be yourself. But
I heard a very interesting theory about Joe Root's captaincy on the weekend. I can't remember whether it was on Test Match Special or on the telly, but it was a good point. They were talking about that he'd been unlucky because he had to captain through the COVID period, and that was a very difficult time to captain any sport.
Yeah, I mean, it was unprecedented, wasn't it? And it was quite difficult to assess Root. I mean, Root has captained England more often than anyone else. He's just about won more Test matches for England than any other captain. But I think he's probably also lost more Test matches for England because he did it for so long. And he did it for 60-odd Tests. And by the end of it, we were still scratching our head and thinking, well, is he any good at this or not? We're not sure. I think essentially the answer is yes. That he had a very bad end to his period in charge, and he was almost too conscientious, I think. Sometimes captains have got to be a bit selfish to make sure they look after their own game. Joe is such a sort of decent guy and eager to cover every angle that he kind of sacrificed a bit of his own game by fretting about what was going on with certain players in his team. So he was almost too conscientious, but you know, he doesn't go down as a disaster as a captain. But he did have a bad finish, and that was highlighted when Stokes took over, I suppose.
Yeah.
But he's also, is stating the obvious. We've got to remember, while he's still going, that Joe Root is one of the greatest ever England players that we're ever likely to see.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So we got to sort of appreciate him while he's there, because he is one of the greatest ever we've ever had.
How do you reflect on the Kevin Peterson era, Dick?
Well, I do reflect on it. And in a sense, I always think Kevin Peterson was a bit of a victim. I don't think he particularly wanted to be captain, unlike, say, Flintoff or Ian. I think they both wanted to be captain. I don't think Kevin Peterson, it had occurred to him that he would become captain, but no one's ever turned it down. You don't turn down the England captain. So I thought it was an appalling decision, even at the time. I'm very lazy. I was a very lazy journalist. Surprised to learn. But I remember when he got appointed, I actually rang up. I was working with The Guardian. I rang a terrible muddle, which was, we've got to have someone who can captain in all three formats at the time. And they made that their priority number one. And once you made that decision, there basically was only one candidate. And he was, I think, perfectly good. Most players are good on the field, making those bowling decisions, the field placement, all that sort of stuff. But there's so much more to it. And he struggled, obviously, with his employers, apart from anything else, and with one or two players in the team. So it's not his fault, but he shouldn't have been made captain. And he sort of admitted that afterwards in his book. He says, I don't know why they made me captain. I don't know why I said yes, but no one says no. Now, and it created a very difficult 2 or 3 years after the captaincy when he never trusted anyone at the ECB. And that there was some real vitriol flying around, as you know, in the latter period. I mean, and going back to that sense of timing, you think of Michael Vaughan, who's obviously one of our great captains, 2005, what a series that was. But the timing was very good then in that he had a hungry Peterson and a hungry Flintoff, not to mention some of the other guys.
We're nearly out of time, Vic. Just want to ask you very quickly, there was a big captaincy moment yesterday where Ben Stokes, who wanted to call time on the game and shake hands and save his flogged bowlers, but Jadeja and Sundar wanted their centuries. So... and how did you read that from a captaincy point of view? We had sort of Harry Brook bowling pies, didn't we?
Why would he bowl his best bowlers? What would be the point?
It was a bit unedifying. What did you make of it?
Well, I missed that bit, actually. I'd long since given up hope for anything exciting happening. I mean, I suppose I can understand Jadeja and was it Washington Sundar wanting to get 3 figures. England didn't really want to gift it to them, but the priority. It's one of the problems, actually, with the structure of the series now, is that the tests are so condensed that they are going to be exhausted. So Stokes has got to rest his bowlers, and it's still a fair chance that several of them won't play in the next test either. They're so condensed that there's no time to recover. And also, they'll get very tired, and that will add to the tetchiness, if you like, of the series, because they're exhausted. You know what it's like when you're dog-tired.
Yeah.
You're not quite so even-tempered, I don't think. So we could have a sparky end of the summer.
Even sparkier than it's been so far. Vic, lovely to talk to you. We wish you well with the book. Thanks very much for joining us. There we are. It's called The Cricket Captains of England by Vic Marks from 1979 right up to the present day. Who's it published by, Andy? Tell us on the back.
Fairfield Books.
There we are. Troy Deeney joins us next. He's got his journalistic head on. I've got a big interview coming up tonight. He'll tell us a bit about that. Celebrity SAS Who Dares wins, and we'll talk about having your head turned as a player. We've had another example of that this week. We're here with Tool Station, delivering as little as 30 minutes with Fast Track. Next stop, Tool Station.
10k for Coldplay.
Now, Coldplay back at Wembley this summer. We've got a huge VIP prize up for grabs for one lucky listener. We're giving you the chance to win 6 tickets and a private box for you and your mates on August the 22nd. With full hospitality, plus we're chucking in 10 grand, spending money completely tax-free. Here's how to enter.
Only take people you're supposed to be with. For a chance to win, text the word WIN to 83338 by the 4th of August at 11 p.m. and you're in the draw. Text costs £2 plus one standard network rate message. You must have the bill payer's permission. Or post your name and number to Coldplay competition, PO Box 3190, Colchester CO2 HEP, to arrive by 5 p.m. on the 7th of August. 18 plus, UK excluding Northern Ireland. This is a talkSPORT limited promotion run on talkSPORT, Talk and Virgin Radio UK stations. Full T's and C's at talksport.com.
Paul Hawksbee, Andy Jacobs here on talkSPORT ahead of a big seminal interview for him tonight. Joining us, and he's doing it on his holidays as well. It is
dedicated.
Yeah, that's right. Never off. Troy Deeney. Good afternoon, Troy.
Morning, Jed. Well, it's morning here, so good morning, Jed. How you doing?
It's an interview, but I mean, it'll be a fun one. Can you reveal who you're going to be chatting to later?
Yes, it's actually just been moved earlier as well. So in the next 25 minutes, I'll be talking to Mr. Tom Brady, head of Birmingham City and Brady, being launched on Amazon. So, really looking forward to it. Spent the last, 7 hours watching every single episode to make sure I got it all in and knew exactly what it was. When you're rewatching a season that we've just had there, then you end on losing to Peterborough. The only thing I can still remember is Adrian Durham's face. It's really, really annoying.
We spoke to Stephen Knight the other day, who's the exec producer of Peaky Blinders fame. It does sound really good. The excerpts I've seen looks like a good series, and obviously Tom is front and centre, isn't he? He's right across it.
He is, but he's not obnoxiously in it. I feel like you need it. It's a good series. Again, obviously being a Birmingham City fan, and Stephen is obviously someone I know is fantastic with Peaky Blinders. And there's little excerpts of Peaky Blinders in there. There's little excerpts of the actual city and the town. And I think when you are trying to brand out and be as big as that, you need to know the history of Birmingham City, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And they do a really good job there. And it's highly entertaining. I watched all 5, as I say, yesterday, so really enjoyed it.
Famously, Tom Brady's coach was Bill Belichick, so you'll have to ask him, probably not on air, but afterwards. What do you make of Bill Belichick going out with a 21-year-old? He's 73. That's unbelievable.
I think I'll leave that one alone.
Not the first question you want to go in with, really.
Maybe number 2. Maybe question number 2.
Now, we have touched on this in the past. I don't know what it's like for a player in the dressing room, if it happens to you, but we've got Johan Visser is the latest one who apparently said he doesn't want to play for Brentford anymore and he's not going to turn up for training. I don't know whether that's exactly what was said, but it's never great, is it, that? I mean, when a player decides they want to leave, we were just talking about Isak. There is, it feels like there's little point trying to keep a player who doesn't want to be there.
Yeah, look, it does feel like both of them want to go. And again, similar reasons, really. I think Visser wants to look at it. He's seen Ivan Toney move on and how well he's done it. He's now seen Mbeumo move on. He's probably looking around saying, I'm probably the last piece of the puzzle. I've done enough that I should be allowed to move. But Brentford obviously operate under a great model and they don't need to sell. So less surprised he's right. But he's probably looking at Newcastle thinking, it's a step up. It's Champions League. Again, what does that do and how far can I go with that? Who knows? And then from Isak's point of view, now with Diaz being sold, it just looks to me as if all the stars are aligning and Liverpool are going to have that team that we spoke about. And we hope that they don't get Isak because I think they win the Premier League for the next 10 years. I really do.
Yeah. You have to worry about Brentford, though. I mean, you take 32 goals out of the team, plus Norgard, and the manager.
And the manager. Yeah, I think the manager.
I mean, they're a great club, but, there's only a limit to how much you can regenerate. Eventually, you think it might catch up with them, but we'll see.
Yeah, and also I think, again, you know this better than me because you're down there a lot more, but I just think the signings, like Jordan Henderson, Jordan's great and he's a good lad, but is he that signing they're used to making? Is he that young, youthful person that we're not too sure about and he just goes bang and he hits 10, 15 goals out of nowhere? Absolutely not. So I do worry for Keith. Obviously played for Keith at Watford. Wish him all the best, but difficult role that he's going into.
And it's interesting, Amari Hutchinson's been mentioned, but they're talking about 35 million, aren't they? I mean, that's not always been the way they've gone. They've tended to kind of turn up some absolute pearls from different parts of the world on just on the metrics.
Yeah,
this is
sure.
a slightly different profile, maybe, for them.
Yeah, again, I don't want to sound disrespectful, but Amari Hutchinson's a fantastic football player. He didn't set the Premier League alight last year. We wasn't doing shows after every game, so talking about how good he was and he should be moved on. And we did that with the lap. We seen it. You can see when somebody's at the level or above. He just looked a little bit lightweight for me at times. And again, technically great. Injured quite a little bit as well. So 35 million for somebody that hasn't proven it yet. I don't think that is what Brentford fans will get excited about personally.
Now, Granit Xhaka's back in the Premier League, Troy, and it seems Mrs. Xhaka, we don't know if her name's Freya or not, but Mrs. Xhaka, she's had a hand in this, understandably, because it's got to be a family tradition. She wanted to come back to the UK. And I mean, you do one about the.
Has she been to Sunderland?
Yeah. Oh, that's all. You said that.
I'm already banned from Newcastle. So
I went to Sunderland once. I went to see Chelsea play there, and I spent a night there. I had a really good time. I thought it was a really nice place.
Nice.
You did say a night.
Well, yeah, I didn't believe it.
You did spend the weekend there.
Talk about doubling down, old Troy.
Day and night.
Now he's in the SAS. He can say what he likes. The gaffer is bound to have a big say. You've got kids, it's important. There's got to be a family decision, this sort of thing, isn't it?
Yeah, and also I think it's a really good project as well. You look at the signings that Sunderland have made, very young, very athletic. I think when you're of an age that Granit is now, where he's got that experience, he can come in and he can guide these young players. I know he's doing his badges as well, so it's a stepping stone in that direction. He's going to be more of a father figure. He's still going to have a massive role to play. He's still going to be the biggest name that we all know from there. But I think he's going to be in a position now as underdogs. It's not the same Leverkusen team that he was at. Maybe he's looked around and thought, I need a new challenge. And like all of us, we pretend to run the house, but when the missus says we do, so that's exactly what happens.
That's very true.
And so you think a better signing, because there was a lot of talk about Jordan Henderson going back there, but you think Granit Xhaka a better signing for them?
Yeah, I think if Jordan would have went back, it would have been a lot of hysteria around Jordan. One of our own coming home. I think it would have been more of a distraction. I think it's a good move for Jordan being at Brentford, by the way. I think when you look at him, Kyle Walker, they've clearly been told by Tuchel, as long as you're playing, you're going to travel with us. So they've just gone to places that are relatively comfortable. Brentford's a nice club for Jordan Henderson. That pitch is small, doesn't have to get around too much, and obviously got loads of energy around him.
Now, your forthcoming appearance in Celebrity SAS Who Dares Wins is all over the papers today, and we learn that you and Conor Bennett have a fight. Is that right?
Yeah, we had a bit of a tear up. Yeah, so it was good fun. Again, the program is just one of those things I've always talked about doing, and obviously when we filmed it, I was at a bit of a crossroads of my own journey as well. So it was just something I wanted to see what I could do and push my mind to. And funny enough, actually today is a year of not drinking. So it's it's been part of that. Thank you. It's been part of that process as well. So yeah, I had a nice little roll around with Conor, and I'll let you know who wins.
Who won the fight between Bayo Akinfenwa and Louis Spence?
Louis absolutely danced circles around him. Absolutely. Like a young Floyd Mayweather he was.
He quit, didn't he, Louis? Because he got bored with it all. He couldn't handle it.
We can't really go into the detail, but
can't really go into the detail.
No. But it's all embargoed. But we look forward to that. I think it's on next week or so. So we'll see you in action then.
It starts on Sunday.
Brilliant. Give our best to Tom, and we'll speak to you soon, Troy. Thanks very much.
Cheers, lads. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Troy. There we are. There's Troy Deeney there. You can catch him. Yeah, Bayoak and Fenn was in it. They're all in it. Who else is in it? Harry Clark of Traitors fame, and Hannah Spirit from S Club.
Great. I won't be watching it. Whoever's in it.
Rebecca Lewis. They're all in it.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Yeah.
Tough booking.
So,
why say?
Still to come this afternoon, Danny Kelly's postcard from Ireland. We're even slinging a bit of Tour de France. Alex Dibble at number 10 as the Lionesses arrive for their victory reception. Don't forget, we'll be right across the parade tomorrow from midday as the open top bus parade taking them through to Trafalgar Square. But lots more to come in the final hour.
England are going to kick off their Euro celebrations back in the UK with a reception at Downing Street after beating Spain in a nail-biting penalty shootout. Chloe Kelly, the hero for the Lionesses in 2022, reprised her role for the big moments and buried the decisive penalty to seal the 3-1 result. talkSPORT's Adrian Durham tells us, although it was a chaotic route to victory, this squad should never be overlooked.
I mean, when you look back, could you say they were the best team? Well, they've won the tournament, and that's all that matters.
Yep.
There might have been other teams played better. But this England side had a depth in the squad, a character and a spirit that none of the others could match, and it's seen them through to victory in the end.
The Lionesses are then set for an open-top bus parade celebration in central London tomorrow, followed by a ceremony outside Buckingham Palace. One player who was considered a real pillar of strength for the squad was Hannah Hampton. As well as saving 2 pens, she was actually born with an eye condition, which means she has no depth perception, and she was told she could never play professional sport. Hampton told talkSPORT what this win means to the squad.
It doesn't matter what gets thrown at us, we'll come out on top, and yeah, today being able to lift that trophy is, I don't know, it's a real reward for all the determination, hard work and just the grit that we've shown throughout this tournament to keep ourselves going when everything's been thrown against us.
Meanwhile, Lucy Bronze revealed after the game that she actually played the entire tournament with a fractured tibia. Just as well, her government middle name is Tough. Yep, Lucy Tough Bronze. Serena Wiegman had nothing but praise for her resilience.
Of course, we try to manage that. But when you play on the 20 minutes, you're not managing it, aren't you? Are you? So, no, yeah, I told you, Lucy Bronze is just, her mentality is like, I think the whole team has an incredible mentality, but she has a crazy mentality. It's unbelievable.
And Luke Littler becomes the youngest ever Triple Crown winner after taking the world match play title. The teen sensation outgunned James Wade 18-13. He also shattered more records with 64 180s, the most ever in the tournament. For more on these stories, head to talksport.com.
Yes, good afternoon. Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs here on talkSPORT. We'll be at number 10 a little bit later on this hour. As you've been hearing, Alex Dibble is there. The Lionesses are heading there. Probably won't be in the same state as the England cricketers were after 2005, but you saw them coming off the coach back to their hotel last night. Got a glass of champagne in hand, though. They've clearly been enjoying themselves, and why not? It's been a long few weeks.
Some of them still wearing their shirts. I've noticed this thing that winning teams that win, big tournaments often keep their shirt on all night.
You don't want to get changed. You don't want to take it off. I can understand that. Funny enough, on that subject, Jo Tung's just been in touch with me, who's an agent to many of the top
she's
players.
Been out there the whole time.
That's right. Yeah. She said, I've just landed, so she's listening today. She was listening to our chat with Dame Laura Davis, and because I was making the point that so many England footballers play a lot of golf for a bit of R&R. Wonder how many of the Lionesses play, and Laura said she'd not played with any, but Jo says loads of the Lionesses play golf. Rachel Brown Finish actually has a FA Legends Gold group who play, and she's married to Tommy Fleetwood's caddy Ian. Rachel, of course, she's been on comms duty. She was for the final last night. Leah, Carly Telford, and lots of others are keen golfers. So
Thank you, Jo.
I wonder, thank you, Jo. I wonder if we'll have to let Laura know. Have a bit of a tournament.
Definitely.
Anything else you want to talk about?
Yeah, it's very interesting actually. Marcus Rashford obviously he made his Barcelona debut, and they quoted Gary Lineker, the Sun, today. He said, "I expect Marcus to do well," but they said, "Legend Lineker." So I think, oh yeah, now he's a legend. Now he's left the BBC. He's a legend. You never called him a legend before. You called him a leech. Incredible.
Yeah. Changed it. I'll tell you what, Chelsea's greatest achievement, possibly of the last 50 years, is not winning everything you've won. You've won it all, including best team in the world. It's making a profit on João Felix. The greatest thing Chelsea have achieved since the 1970 FA Cup final.
Absolutely.
You turned 38 million into 43 million.
I don't know how they did that. Really.
Yeah, I mean, fair play. Well, if you sell somebody to Saudi, that's what can happen.
I know, he's just an odd player, Felix.
It's funny, we got Kevin Hatchard coming up shortly, and I mean, it's almost like everybody who buys him watches old videos of him at Benfica.
Yeah.
Before he never quite...
he does have
He has
some
his
skills,
moments,
yeah.
I know, but he's never consistent enough. We'll get Kev's thoughts on it. I mean, he's a good player, but he never quite lived up to that promise. He consistently lived up to it. I mean,
That's true.
He's probably on about sort of £5 million a week. Who are we to question him? And he's going to be playing with Cristiano Ronaldo, isn't he?
Yeah, that'll help.
Yeah.
I was reading the Mail on Sunday yesterday, and they have a column where they ask people about their finances.
Yeah.
And one of the questions they say is, what is your biggest money mistake? Now, I didn't make a note of who it was, but normally they say, I made a poor investment on a flat, or I bought, invested in a business. Listen to what this bloke said. Clothes-wise, buying a grey untucked dress shirt. I wore it once and thought, big mistake. It was the stupidest shirt I ever bought. Oh, blimey. It really can't have been that expensive. It can't have been the worst money move you ever made.
One of the basic prerequisites, really, of a dress shirt is you tuck it in, don't you?
That's true. I mean, it wouldn't work, really.
You're just going to stand there in a sort of dinner suit
with a shirt hanging out.
A big rough collar with your shirt hanging out.
It's not going to happen.
No, that's a weird concoction, isn't it? I can understand, but you can't remember who it was.
No, I didn't make a note of that. I just thought it was incredible.
Benito Mussolini's great-grandson is going to be playing in Serie A. Next week, this season. And we're interested in some of the unlikely ancestors you have along the way. What have we got? My mum's maiden name is Sainsbury.
Oh, okay.
My granddad always said his family invented the shop.
Not Jay Sainsbury.
Well,
it might be.
He's Jay Sainsbury, by both sound of it. Yeah. So he said, we've never really bothered looking into the family tree. We could make a claim. I think probably that ship has sailed there. Justin, say you're Jay Sainsbury, march into your local Sainsbury's and then just lay claim to... Don't do that, you get arrested.
And don't say you're related to Brian Liddell.
Yeah.
Because that seems unlikely. Now, I was telling you this morning about... You may speak to this guy later in the week. Lewis Elmer, 33, is a world champion. Yeah. He took part in the World Beard and Moustache Championships.
Oh, congratulations.
And he took place in the under 15 centimetre full beard with style moustache category. Yeah. And I can't remember if it was you or the producer said to me, under 15. Because that would be the bum fluff section.
Yeah, I think it was me who said, you said that he won the under 15 category. Although we all had a kid at school who had we all had a kid at school at 15 had a full WG Grace, didn't we?
It seems unlikely.
Always still a bit weird. What have we got here? Fatty Wedlock is my great uncle.
Really?
Billy Wedlock, of course, the player of yore, apparently.
Oh, right. I don't really remember him.
Football of the 1900s. He said, as he was a relative, I got quite self-conscious as I'm 6 foot and 12 stone. And it really played on my mind, so I've lost loads of weight, and now they call me Thinny Wedlock. Says Ryan. Thank you very much for that.
Ian Owen of Wallington in Surrey, he writes to the Sun on a regular basis.
Nice, well done to him.
Virtually every day he gets a letter in, often about football. But I'd say over the hundreds of letters that Ian's had published, they've never added anything to the conversation.
Okay, well
here's a typical one.
Yeah.
Arsenal have finally got their man, paying $63.5 million for Swedish star Victor Gyökeres. Yeah, we know that. We read the paper, mate. Who did you just tell us?
Is that the extent of the letter?
Well, he says he's the 6th new signing that will help the Gunners chase the next Premier League title.
It's just basically facts.
It's facts.
It's not adding any... He doesn't think whether he's any good or he's not any good. That's it.
That's it.
Just stating the facts.
Yeah, I'm glad that here's another one from him. I'm glad that Marcus Rashford's finally sorted out the next stage of his career with Barcelona signing him for a loan that will last the season. Yes! What's the point? Stop publishing them.
The things you get annoyed about, though, Andy.
It winds me up. I don't see the point of writing into a newspaper to tell them what we've already seen in the newspaper.
Why don't you try and send one Ernie Jenkins?
Oh, yeah.
Why don't you say, I'm delighted to see that João Felix finally got his move on.
I'm banned from the Star, though.
Why is that they know you are?
Well, they knew I
don't know Ernie Jenkins, do they?
No, I think it's my phone.
Talking about it on national radio don't help. But We could get that in. You could be in the Sun tomorrow. I'm delighted that we'll write it together. Do it now. I was delighted that João Felix got his move away from Chelsea and signed for Al Nassr to play alongside Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yeah, it's good work.
But Ian might come for you. You're on his territory.
He's
You're on his
already
turf.
written that letter already.
Yeah. I'm a relative of Raymond Kusick.
Who?
Raymond Kusick, the designer of the Daleks.
Oh, all right. Okay.
I'm not me. This is coming from one of the listeners.
I think you were.
I would have told you that,
The
wouldn't
Eldridges.
I? Yeah, I would have kept that.
They were the Dalek side of the family.
I believe I'm a distant relative of David Beckham, and the begging letters still not getting answered.
I don't know why the newspapers don't write about you. I'd love to know what you're doing on holiday.
Yeah.
With your new wife.
and the late Len Goodman. So we're all related, all interrelated via the Eldridges.
Well, there we go.
I'm a relative of Raymond Kusick, designer of the Daleks. Only ever picked up on it once. I was at a hotel where Comic Con was going on nearby, and she knew the name. She was probably dressed as a stormtrooper or something behind the counter. Honestly, that really messes. You go into a town where there's Comic Con. I went to San Diego years ago with a family, and everybody's dressed. You're kind of walking down, it's a Wookiee walking down the street with Superman. It was all a bit nuts.
People love it, don't they?
Unless you know it's on in town, it's a bit disconcerting. But yeah, so there we are. Just some of your, and this is off the fact of Benito Mussolini's great grandson Romano. Mussolini.
Yeah. Talking of names, the Sun did some Vox Pops, fans leaving the stadium last night.
Yeah.
And then in Basel, they bumped into Londoner Kiri Teagan Shirley Smythe. It's not bad having 4 names.
That's fantastic.
Quite impressed.
Yeah.
Anyway, she very much enjoyed it.
Let's tell you about a brand new podcast. Andy Goldstein popped in and told us about it a little while ago. He does it with Jason Cundy. It's called 21 Minutes to Go. Each week, these two talkSPORT legends, you can tell that's written down.
What they are, legends.
Of course they're legends. They tackle listener questions and go off on absurd tangents. Episode 3 has just dropped, and it's exactly 21 minutes of pure nonsense. Should we hear some?
Yeah, I think it'll be funny.
It will be.
Has he ever seen a baby pigeon?
I don't think we have.
What do you mean we? You're talking on behalf of me now? Or you're royal we?
The royal we. I don't know whether I have. They must exist, obviously, right?
Yeah.
But they're all... Here's the thing about pigeons in London.
Yeah.
Have a look at their toes. I've had this conversation. Have a look at their toes,
You've
right?
had this conversation with me.
Right. Have a look at the pigeon's toes, right?
Are they
if
toes?
a pigeon...
3 toes.
They've got 3 on each foot.
Leg.
Their feet.
Yeah.
Their feet or claws, what are they called?
Yeah.
Right? You look at how many don't have all their toes.
Yeah, go on, how do you know this?
Because I walk around London looking at pigeons' toes.
They're not even pigeon-toed, are they? No. No Chris Packham, Jason, is he, really?
Not really, no.
He's not going to be getting autumn watch, is he? Here we are.
Well, there we are.
So if you're craving a podcast, somebody should do a podcast about bod and call it that. That's bite-sized. I tell you, I'd be up for that. I've watched enough of them. That's bite-sized and full of personality. This is it. Check out 21 Minutes to Go, available wherever you get your podcasts, or indeed your bodcasts.
It's great. The door's open today. We can hear the producer laughing.
Yeah, I think it's normally in tears. Yeah, the door's broken. We've got a problem with the studio door. It can't close.
I know, they couldn't get in this morning.
That's right. It's great, isn't it? There nearly wasn't a show on air because they couldn't actually get into the studio. I think the listeners have had a whip round and broken the lock. They've done it to us. They've had enough of it. Oh, blimey! I'm a distant cousin of Peter Glaze off of Crackerjack. That's fantastic. Well done. And there we are. Thank you, Mark from Barry. You're not related to Mussolini? Let us know. talksport.com/H&J. Text to 81089. Tweet to TSH&J. Kevin Hatchard joins us, European football expert. We're going to talk a bit of Granit Xhaka. Everton doing a bit of business from Bayern, a player you've heard, Andy, highly rated.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of the sort of ITK scouts say this guy's a really, really good prospect, so we'll see.
Marcus Rashford got some minutes in a Barcelona shirt. Just some of the ground we'll cover with Kev very shortly. We're here with Toolstation this summer. You can shop Toolstation's award-winning Hawksmoor lawnmower range in-store, on the app and online. Next stop, Toolstation. Hawksbee, Andy Jacobs here on talkSPORT. So over to number 10 a little bit later on with our own Alex Dibble as the Lionesses arrive to be saluted by the Prime Minister and the Deputy Prime Minister and others at number 10. The big parade tomorrow will be right across that from 12 on talkSPORT. Have you seen? You've seen Pep's moustache?
I have. It's a bit old, isn't it? It doesn't really suit him.
It reminds me of Steve Fleming, of course, of the Thick of It fame. Do you remember?
Yeah, it looks a bit like that.
Slightly
It's also a bit George Roper from George and Mildred.
Neither of them that flattering.
Not really, no.
Yeah. Anyway, maybe we won't major on that as we chat to European football expert Kevin Hatchard. Hi, Kev.
Well, I did not expect Pep Guardiola and George and Mildred to be mentioned in the same breath, but there we are. We are.
It's quite one of those big bushy moustaches. I'm not sure. I mean, someone's going to have to tell him, but it's not going to be me.
Yeah, well, you'd have thought he'd have thought about it really carefully. He'll have examined all the angles. He'll have thought of the best, most analytical way to do it. So.
Very good.
So is Eric Ten Hag an unhappy man? It seems he didn't want Granit Xhaka to go. It seems this has sort of happened, without his blessing.
Yeah, well, he publicly came out and said he didn't want him to go. And if you look at the wider picture at Leverkusen, look at who they've lost. They've lost their best player in Florian Wirtz. They've lost their best defender in Jonathan Tah. They've lost Jeremy Frimpong as well. And there is a sense that this is going to have to be a brand new start with a lot of moving parts to it, and it's going to ask a hell of a lot for Ten Hag to hit the ground running with a lot of new players. I mean, they've made some good signings. Flecken's an interesting grab, I think, from Brentford. They've brought in Jarell Quansah, who I think will do well in the Bundesliga. Malik Tillman, who was on the books at Rangers at one stage, he's gone in there, but it's all part of a real summer of change, and I think it's going to take quite a long time for Leverkusen to get back to anywhere near where they were before.
Leipzig have got a new manager as well, haven't they? Ole Werner. So, I mean, he's faced with losing
also lost a lot
Xavi
of
Simons and Sesko as well. I mean, not an easy start when you take over a job.
No, I think Ole Werner would have known that coming in. I think the feeling was, as soon as we knew that Leipzig weren't going to qualify for Europe, and perhaps even before that, we knew that Šeško and Xavi would be the ones they'd try and sell. Xavi's only got a couple of years left, and he was somebody they wanted, I think, to flip anyway. They felt that as soon as they signed him on a permanent basis from PSG, the idea was to try and make a profit, really. And Šeško's one that could have gone a year before, but they persuaded him to stay, and Arsenal were very strongly linked with him, and they've decided to go elsewhere. But Ole Werner, I think, is a really interesting one because he's a young coach. He's not a very fashionable coach, but he did really well at Werder Bremen with not much budget, and he was constantly talking about making signings, and it just didn't happen. So it's a really big opportunity for him. And Leipzig have made some exciting signings, but they've got a lot of work to do because the morale was so low after they missed out on Europe.
It sounds like, sorry, Paul, but just because I know Kev's an expert on German football, it sounds like Bayern are really going to dominate this year.
Yeah, almost by default to an extent, because Bayern are a good side, but I think what we saw in the Champions League was their deficiencies. And I think we also saw that to an extent at the Club World Cup as well, because I think in the very top games, defensively, they're not quite there. Now, it'll be interesting to see if signing Jonathan Tah is going to help them in that regard. I think Luis Diaz certainly helps on that left-hand side. They've got Elise, they've got Kane. Going forward, no problem. The issue is defensively and how the team looks in terms of the overall solidity. But you need other teams who can actually take them down. Leipzig are going to have 3 weeks every week because they're not going to be in Europe, but I think they've got too much to do in terms of putting that team together. Leverkusen, as I've mentioned, are taking a big step backwards because of all the changes they've been, not least losing Xabi Alonso. And then with Borussia Dortmund, you never quite know. I mean, you really don't know because they were so bad in the first half of the season. Niko Kovac turned them round. But what Dortmund are we really going to get? It's very difficult to know. But of all the teams in Germany, Dortmund are by far the best placed, I think, to cause Bayern a problem.
Happy birthday to Harry Kane today. And how long do you see him staying at Bayern? I mean, at the moment, he seemed very happy. He got that elusive trophy, didn't he, last season? So how long do you see him over there, Kev?
Certainly minimum one more year. And when there was all this talk of the Premier League earlier in the summer, Bayern were making it clear that he wasn't going anywhere. And to be fair to Kane, so was he. And I think he's got his family settled now. He's settled. He feels that he's playing great football. He feels that he's got players around him that can get the best out of him. He's showing no signs of slowing down for club or country. He believes he's in peak physical condition as well. And so it wouldn't surprise me to see him stay for at least a couple more years, because he knows in each and every year Bayern are going to have a great chance of winning something domestically. But where they're trying to get to is getting back into that top echelon of clubs in the Champions League.
Just going back to Šeško, we were chatting to Ben Jacobs earlier on, and Newcastle, may make a move. A number of teams may make a move. They're hoping the price comes down as the window unfolds. I mean, they're looking, what was it, for 80-odd million euros? I mean, where are we at with his potential transfer at the moment?
Yeah, I think Leipzig, that's the dream price, but I think they're well aware that, because what you tend to get with Leipzig is Leipzig tend to say to their players, look, we know you want to go. Could you do one more year? Maybe we'll write you down a lower release clause, or we'll have some kind of agreement, whereas we're not going to price you out of the move. With Šeško, they kind of haven't done that so far, and maybe that's because they didn't qualify for Europe. Maybe they're thinking, we're going to have to make up that financial shortfall somewhere, and he's probably our most saleable asset. I do genuinely believe whoever gets him has got a really exciting striker on their hands, because he's so unusual. He's tall, he's quick, he's imaginative, he's got more skill than you would necessarily think for a guy of that kind of frame. So even though he's a bit rough around the edges, I think if he was to be a regular first-team player for someone, I think he could develop really nicely in the next couple of years.
Now, Everton are getting closer to signing Adam Asnou from Bayern. He's a product of La Masia, another one who's come through that. And Andy was telling me he's a pretty hot prospect. So what can you tell us about him?
He's highly rated, but it's all a bit mysterious in the sense that we just haven't seen him in German football. Bayern just didn't take the plunge and put him in the team. And that's understandable to an extent, because Alphonso Davies is their first choice left back. But even when he was injured, it tended to be Rafael Guerreiro, or sometimes even putting other players in that position. There didn't ever seem to be the full trust in Asnou that I think we expected. He went out on loan last season to Vallecano, who were, Valladolid rather, who were pretty dreadful. So it's difficult to know, but the feeling was that he was a good prospect. The feeling was that when they got him in from Barcelona, he was an exciting player they could really work with. We just haven't seen him make that leap. But good on the ball, so has that ability to invert if you need him to, attack-minded, and has played for Morocco at international level as well. So there's definitely something there, but what we don't have is a kind of extended track record to really hang your hat on. But I think for Everton to get a player like that, considering the kind of reputation that he's been garnering, I think that's a good sign for them.
And finally, Marcus Rashford got some minutes in a Barcelona shirt. I don't know if you managed to catch that. If so, how did he do, Kevin?
Yeah, he got half an hour and he was involved in one of the goals and he looked quite sharp, truth be told. Hansi Flick said afterwards there were various reasons we didn't give him more time. He hasn't done a huge amount of on-the-ball training with us. We haven't actually... there were other players we wanted to put in because they're just back from injury. So I think it's softly... But you listen to the way Rashford talks about Hansi Flick, you listen to the way Flick talks about Rashford, I think they feel this could be a productive partnership for them going forward. I think Flick likes the fact that he could cover numerous positions. That really helps Barcelona out. But actually, he had his thunder stolen a little bit by Rooney Badji, who's a young Swedish player who they brought in from Copenhagen, and he scored an excellent goal and he's terrific. He's had some injury problems, but I think he's going to be a really exciting signing for them. So, yeah, I'll be really interested to see what happens with Rashford in the long term, because it's not necessarily going to be easy to nail down a place in that forward line.
Absolutely.
If he does well, though, it's great for England, so let's hope
it does. Let's hope it works
absolutely. And look, it's again, I talked about Luis Diaz. Looks as though he's going to go to Bayern, right? And that's a deal I think is going to work for everyone. This works for everyone in theory, because Barcelona don't have to pay out a transfer fee, don't have to pay out his full wages because he's taken a cut. So they get an experienced marquee signing for not very much in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
Rashford gets a fresh start, and United get him off the wage bill. So it should be positive all round, really.
Yeah, and you're right. You got a player with a point to prove, and a World Cup coming up next year wants to get back in the England team. And I would imagine, if he is playing well, especially at a club like that, you've got the eyes of the world on
absolutely.
you. So fingers crossed. Excellent. Thank you, Kevin. All the best.
Cheers, chaps.
There we are. There's Kevin Hatchard, European football expert, and that was quite a bite-sized bit of European football chat. For a more leisurely stroll for the world of European football, you need to go to Trans Europe Express. If you can't make it on a Sunday night, it's available as a podcast with Danny Kelly and Andy Brassel and the gang. And it's at the talkSPORT app or wherever you get your podcasts, or indeed podcasts. A little bit of sad news in the world of football, actually. This is involving Morecambe, who there's been a bit of chat. Adi Oladipo and the gang and Simon were chatting about it earlier on. Morecambe have been suspended from the National League until the middle of August, we hear, as the club's ownership uncertainty continues. It's just a bit of a mess around ownership of the club. It's a great shame. All the players have been told to go home until further notice. So sorry to hear that, and we will be following up, I'm sure, on that story a little bit later on.
Spurs are letting Mikey Moore go to Rangers for a year.
Okay, I think he didn't go on the tour, so I think it was pretty obvious he was off on loan. I mean, that could be
good for him.
Could be very good for him.
He's a real prospect. I really like the look of him.
Yeah, I mean, they seem to have loaded up with quite a few players on that side.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I mean, I don't know how much game time he would have got. They've obviously made that decision. Thomas Franks made that decision, and the guys there. But we'll see. So Mikey Moore's gone off to Rangers. Danny Kelly's going to join us very shortly. Little postcard from Ireland, and football, cycling, the whole 9 yards. And Alex Dibble outside number 10 as the Lionesses arrive to be saluted by the Prime Minister and more. That's all to come. England are going to kick off their Euro celebrations back in the UK with a reception at Downing Street after beating Spain in a nail-biting penalty shootout. Chloe Kelly, the hero for the Lionesses in 2022, reprised her role for the big moments and buried the decisive penalty to seal the 3-1 result. talkSPORT's Adrian Durham tells us, although it was a chaotic route to victory, this squad should never be overlooked.
I mean, when you look back, could you say they were the best team? Well, they've won the tournament, and that's all that matters.
Yep.
There might have been other teams played better. But this England side had a depth in the squad, a character and a spirit that none of the others could match, and it's seen them through to victory in the end.
The Lionesses are then set for an open-top bus parade celebration in central London tomorrow, followed by a ceremony outside Buckingham Palace. Meanwhile, Lucy Bronze revealed after the game that she actually played the entire tournament with a fractured tibia. Just as well, her government middle name is Tough. Yep, Lucy Tough Bronze. Serena Wiegmann had nothing but praise for her resilience.
Lucy Bronze is just, her mentality is like, I think the whole team has an incredible mentality, but she has a crazy mentality. It's unbelievable.
And Luke Littler becomes the youngest ever Triple Crown winner after taking the World Match Play title. For more on these stories, head to talksport.com.
There's antimony, arsenic, aluminum, selenium, and hydrogen and oxygen and nitrogen and rhenium, and nickel, neodymium, neptunium, germanium, and iron, americium, ruthenium, uranium, europium, zirconium, lutetium, vanadium, and lanthanum, and osmium, and astatine, and radium, and gold, protactinium, and indium, and gallium, and iodine, and thorium, and thulium, and thallium.
Not the sort of Pogues-style music we've been used to as we introduce this section with Danny Kelly. Irish football, Irish League football, one of the few leagues still playing, so every Monday we get a little postcard from Ireland. That was Tom Lehrer, the satirist, musician, mathematician, who sadly died today.
Oh, was he 97 or something?
Yeah. Danny can tell us why he chose it. Hi, Danny.
Hi there. I chose it because, you know, Tom Lehrer was a huge figure in music who's now completely lost to history in many ways. But he took the traditions of Gilbert and Sullivan and turned sort of satirical songwriting into an art form. So without him, no Victoria Wood, no Bill Bailey, etc. But that's not his great contribution to humanity.
He didn't play on the back for Galway, did he?
He did not. But listen to this. He was a genius. You heard there's a mathematical genius as well as a musical genius, an all-round brainiac. So when he joins the American Armed Forces, the lads are getting ready to have a party, but alcohol is banned on the base. So he went to a friend of his who was a cook, and she and he invented the Jello shot.
Oh, wow.
Tom Lehrer invented the Jello shot by using orange jelly and filling the little cups with alcohol, got them onto the base, and as far as anyone can know, that is the first time the Jello shot was created. So there is a huge contribution to society. I think you'll agree.
That's a great bit of trivia.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
The world of we're talking about the All Ireland. We were talking about the hurling, weren't we? We had the football.
And this weekend saw the football final between Kerry and Donegal, and Kerry won. They're the traditional power in that form of the sport. But it struck me again just how difficult it is for soccer, as we call it in these islands, to establish itself properly. Again, there were 82,000 people at Croke Park. I'm telling you now that if they had built the stadium for 100,000, it would have been full. Indeed, if they doubled the capacity to 164,000, it would be full. Bear in mind that if you take away the Aviva, the biggest soccer ground in the Republic is the Tallaght Stadium, where Shamrock Rovers play, with 10,000 capacity. There are 31 bigger GAA stadiums in the Republic than there are on the island than there are soccer grounds. And some of these ones are Premier League sized. You know, Tipperary won the hurling last week, and their ground holds 46,000. These are huge grounds on a small island, and then yet soccer is still very much played in stadia, that hold 5,000, 6,000, 7,000. It's just a thought that came to me while I was watching, once again, another monstrous crowd watching the sport.
What happened to Lansdowne Road? Is it still a stadium? Or?
Yes, it is. I don't know, Andy. That's a very good question. One which you can Google during my next long answer.
Now, ugly scenes at a big game this week, Danny.
Yeah, Friday night I saw the second place Derry City play third place Bohemians. The game was a 1-1 draw, but was completely overshadowed, to use the vernacular, by what was described by the police service in Northern Ireland as pre-arranged violence. There was violence before the game. There was violence after it, and we shouldn't make light of it at all. 2 people were actually hospitalised. I'm not sure what this... I've tried to find out, but not sure what this is about. But there are recurring spots now of this kind of fan violence in the League of Ireland. It's not like England in the 70s and 80s. Don't get me wrong, but with the renewed interest in the sport in the Republic over the last 10 years and its revival as a spectator sport, has come this kind of mad edge to it as well, that people are prepared to fight each other for no other reason than they support different football teams.
Yeah.
As I say, I don't want to make light of it, and I really don't, but there were scenes that verged on the comical because after the game, the Bohemians fans were at one end of the ground. It's a piece of ground protected only from the main highway by a Harris chain fence, one of those fences that you can prop up. The building sites all have them.
Yeah.
And they were attacked by a particular individual who seemed to have invented a kind of homemade rocket launcher. It was multi-barreled, and he was firing a lot of fireworks at them. But the reason why it made me laugh was his mate, who hadn't perhaps gone quite to the top of the weapons technology tree for he wielded a golf club in their general direction. And the final bit of this, of course, is that the safety fencing, which had been designed to keep the fans in or the fans away from each other, eventually became the weapon of choice by the retaliating Bohemians fans. But as I say, something to be watched here in this country and on this island, because that was not good, and it went viral, of course. The firework rocket launcher went viral.
Lansdowne Road was demolished in 2007.
And on the site of the Aviva, I know.
Yeah, exactly right.
That's right, yeah. So it just became the Aviva with a bit of sponsorship, I guess.
But the Aviva and the GAA stadium is a different stadium, isn't it?
Yeah, of course
Yeah,
it
they
is.
are.
Yeah,
Croke Park is a monstrous thing. And Aviva is still a very large football ground. Would have been even larger if the planning hadn't gone so badly for the authorities, Andy, that it's effectively a 3-sided stadium. Behind one of the goals, as you noticed, instead of being seats and terraces, is a large glass wall because the local residents said that the new stadium was going to block their light out. And so you have effectively a light source for the locals at one end of the ground.
Now, you were telling us that Shelbourne had drawn Karabag in European competition, and you sent me a route map. It was via Ukraine, which doesn't sound like the ideal stop-off.
If you go by on a bus, but in order to get to the second leg this week, you'd already have left Dublin.
Yeah, 2 days, 16-hour journey, and those
across Ukraine.
And those Shelbourne fans who are going, it's not going to be an easy watch, is it?
First of all, I got castigated by saying this must be the longest journey you can undertake in European football. Dundalk fans reminded me that 10 years ago they played Karabag, and they've got an extra 40 minutes to the airport at Dublin from County Louth. Now, if you're a Shelbourne fan, you plan to go. I mean, obviously you're gone now if you're going by road, and you've got to get through Ukraine. But let's say even if you're flying, it's not going to be a fun outing, is it? You've got a 5,000-mile round trip, and you're already 3 down from the first leg. Karabag absolutely eviscerated them in Dublin. Shelbourne, who are the current champions, are not in good form. And Karabag, who are, of course, let's be honest, very, very regular European team, they mashed them. So I'd be interested to see how many Shelbourne fans are going to make. In fact, I'd be interested to see how many Shelbourne players make the trip, to be honest.
How many did Karabag bring to Shelbourne?
I couldn't say. I don't think there was a lot of them there. No, it's not a. It's not yet a giant fixture, is it? To be truthful.
No, that's very true. And where else are we going, Danny?
Just very quickly after that was Wednesday in the Champions League. On Thursday, there were 5 Irish teams from both sides of the border involved in the Conference League. No defeats, which was pretty good. Because they're finding their level, aren't they? That's what the Conference League was for. Shamrock Rovers won 4-0 in Gibraltar against a team called St Joseph's, who might well be a school team by the look of that scoreline. Linfield drew in Lithuania. I won't give you the names of all these teams. St Patrick's only won 1-0 against an Estonian team in Dublin called Kalju, and they'll have a struggle when they go there. and Larne drew with Kosovo team Pristina 0-0. But the important result, the ones to look out for here, is the beautifully named Dungannon Swifts from Northern Ireland. They went to Liechtenstein and played Vaduz, who I think are the champions of Liechtenstein. They won 1-0 with a goal by Keelan Dillon. But that is notable because it was Dungannon Swift's first ever away win in Europe. And they've been in and out of tournaments for a long time, but it's their first ever away win. Small steps, as they say, small steps.
We're going to talk about the Tour very briefly. Tadej Pogacar did it again yesterday.
Yeah.
I was reading a piece by David Walsh in the Times today, and David's sort of, as a journalist and author, has sort of stride many eras of cycling. He says he loves Pogacar because he feels he's a credible champion. He says this feels like the most credible era that cycling has known for some time. After all this sort of doping years.
Well, David is the cheat catcher general, isn't he? Let's be truthful. And for him to say that he feels this has been a very clean tour, is a mark of a certificate almost that it has been. Of course, these are the most tested athletes in the world these days because of what's happened in the past. Pogacar is incredible. He has won 4 of the last 6 tours. He is unbeatable almost. And yesterday he did get beat. And the only time in this tour, in the final stages of the final stage into Paris, Wout van Aert, himself a tremendous cyclist, managed to cycle away from him. But what was interesting about it was this last day is supposed to be a procession. The winner and his team, in this case Pogacar, are supposed to bowl into Paris, drinking champagne and waving their hats and their helmets to the assorted crowds. But that's not Pogacar. He is a monster. And he went off and tried to win the stage. Now, this is nuts because it was raining on cobbled streets. If he'd fallen off, he could have thrown away the entire tour that he spent 3 weeks and 3,500 kilometres trying to win.
Wow.
But it's not in his nature. He got beaten by the better man on the day, but even the fact that he was trying tells you something about this extraordinary athlete.
Absolutely.
The only thing that can beat him next year, in my opinion, and I think Gord's a tremendous cyclist, is if he gets bored with it. There were signs of tetchiness during this Tour de France that it looked like it was all getting a bit much for him, having to do this every day and to be so good at it.
Yeah, well, he is pretty special. Nice one, Danny. We'll catch up with you next week.
You will. Cheers, men. Bye.
Take care. Danny Kelly, there was a little postcard from Ireland with a bit of cycling thrown in. Now, this weekend, a WBA world title shot is within reach for Oscar Duarte and Kenneth Sims Jr., who will seize a victory in Chicago, Illinois. Watch this Sunday, live only on DAZN. You can sign up at DAZN.com. That's DAZN.com/boxing.
Boxing update on talkSPORT with DAZN, the global home of boxing. Buy now at DAZN.com/boxing.
honestly, it's not just about that goal, it's about every minute. Get us here today, it doesn't go unnoticed, and the fans today were unbelievable.
The Lionesses have made us dream again. Now, can they bring football home again? Here comes Chloe Kelly. Oh, you couldn't have written it better.
Tough times don't last, and just around the corner was a Champions League final, won that, and now a Euros final, won that. So thank you to everyone that wrote me off. I'm grateful.
We just know that Chloe is such a great penalty taker.
Kelly from 12 yards to make England champions again against Katakoi. Hop, skip, jump. Oh my goodness! What a penalty kick! You better believe it! Football is coming home again! These legendary Lionesses are the winners of Euro 2025, and once again, Chloe Kelly is the hero.
Yeah, they've just been given a lovely welcome at Southend Airport.
Yes.
The crowds are there, and they are heading to number 10 for a reception.
Lovely.
One of our top team, Alex Dibble, has popped along. Alex, what's happening?
Hi guys, so I'm obviously outside number 10. The England flags are draped all over the windows here. There are little ones all over the railings as well. Downing Street wanting nobody to be in any doubt what this afternoon's all about. So the Lionesses, having just touched down in Southend, they're going to make their way over to Downing Street all the way through central London, and then there are crowds here as well, just outside the gates at the end of the road, waiting to greet them here as well. And then once they get up here where I am, they're going to be greeted by the Deputy Prime Minister Angela Rayner, as well as the Sports Minister Stephanie Peacock. Keir Starmer, of course, is up in Scotland with Donald Trump, so they're going to have to make do with Angela Rayner, the Deputy Prime Minister, but of course she's no stranger to a party, so I'm sure it's going to be a great atmosphere when they finally arrive.
Excellent. Okay, back to you later, Alex. Thanks very much. Alex Dibble there. I'm sure will be popping up in Drive. Let's catch up now with your co-commentator for the England games during the tournament, former England forward Tash Dowie. Hi, Tash.
Hi guys, nice to talk to you all.
Yeah, now it's all done and dusted. We went through it all with you as we chatted and slightly fearing the worst at times.
It was I mean, this is it. I often wonder if it's the players say it's more nervy watching than it is taking a penalty, because for everybody else it was really, sick to the stomach really before they stepped up to take that penalty.
Yeah, I mean it is, isn't it? I've taken penalties in my career, but I can't say I've taken one that's, in a European Championship final, and they just looked all so calm, cool, collected. And I think that's what's amazed me the most about this Lionesses team. If we're being honest, they haven't performed well throughout the tournament, probably a full 90 minutes. There's been penalty shootouts, there's been last-minute goals. But the mentality to never give up, never know when they're beaten, that's not easy. And that's something that's been built, since really Sarina Wiegman's taken over. The environment that she's created, the belief, that squad, we talk about the finishers. When I was playing for England, you didn't have that. You were starters or you were on the bench and you didn't feel like you were good enough or didn't feel a part of the squad, and there wasn't that unity. Whereas now everyone respects their roles, respects Sarina Wiegman, and delivers. And I don't think any of us expected this, if we're being honest. I think after the France game, we didn't think we'd progress. Sweden 2-0 down, didn't think we'd progress. Same with Italy, last minute, Ajiman. And then I think coming into the final, you kind of expected Spain. It was such an easy tournament for them to go on and win it, but they've done it again. And I think it says a lot about this squad. It really does. And credit to them. They deserve everything they get, because that's not an easy feat what they've done.
We heard Chloe Kelly saying there after the game to everybody who wrote her off, thank you, because it inspired her.
Very pointed.
I mean, the way a relationship fell apart with City at the end was a real shame. It did get a bit unpleasant. I mean, what went wrong for her there, Tash, really? I mean, because she, it started off very well for her there. I know she had a bad injury, had an ACL just before the last Euros, but it did end in quite an acrimonious way, didn't it? Yeah,
it did. And I think that in football, I think it's one person's opinion. And I think that's the tough thing. Gareth Taylor, at that time, a moment, she just didn't fit into his team. And what I liked about Chloe Kelly, she was brave enough to stand up and actually, rather than just sitting on the bench and accepting it, brave enough to actually go out and say, I'm not happy. You're not getting the best out of me. I'm not getting the best out of you. Let's make a move. And she didn't make a move to a club that, she was going to get guaranteed game time. She actually made a move to a club that potentially actually are better than City. So that was a big gamble to go to Arsenal, where you're probably not going to be guaranteed. You're coming up against your Beth Mead, who's one of your teammates at England. And credit to her, she kind of actually probably pushed Beth Mead out of Arsenal starting 11 towards the end of the season. Just looked so happy, was playing with a smile on her face. And credit to Arsenal as well, because the way that they treated her and to get her enjoying her football again. Chloe Kelly, who's happy as a special football player. And I think then to go on and win the Champions League with Arsenal, to have the impact with the role that she's had here in the Euros, which hasn't been easy. Everyone's been calling for her to start. She's come on, she's assisted, she's scored time after time. Same happened in Euros 2022 and still can't get into the starting 11. But you just knew that it was going to be her moment again when she stepped up for that 5th penalty. There was no doubt, and I'm sure she's going to have a great season at Arsenal this year.
Yeah, I think Arsenal will have a good season. Actually, they've got Russo, they've got her, they've got Beth Mead. They've got
Adrian.
Of course, she'll be back. It'll be interesting. And Chelsea, I mean, you imagine that Bronze is going to miss the start of the season, and possibly Lauren James as well. So,
that was a bit of a shock to hear that. Lucy Bronze had been playing with I think she said a broken tibia or fractured tibia, which is so that obviously shows her mentality. And Lauren James, it was a big gamble that didn't pay off for Serena Wiegmann, so that's a massive blow for Chelsea. But I think as a player, selfishly, they probably just wanted to be playing in that final. So bigger term, it's going to affect them going into the season, and I'm sure the Chelsea manager isn't going to be too happy with regards to that. But they've got a winner's medal around their necks. I think right now that's all they care about.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Just finally, Tash, we got 2 years to the next World Cup in Brazil. I mean, how many of the existing sides you still expect to be active and playing? I mean, normally after a tournament, you often get one or two people say, I can't go again, I won't be around in the next 2-year cycle. I mean, I don't know who that's likely to be, but how do you see us? How well set are we for 2027?
I think we're really well set. And if I'm being completely honest, I don't see many changes. I really don't. I think it's going to be interesting with regards to Millie Bright, her situation right now. Does she come back into this England setup? I mean, she's a top player, but she's been quite vocal as well with how she feels the team has been doing this tournament. And obviously to kind of pull out the way she has, I don't know how that sits well with Serena Wiegmann or not. But Lucy Bronze was quoted that potentially it's her last Euros, but she's 100% going to be pushing for that World Cup if selected. And she's probably one of the oldest players in the team. So if Lucy Bronze is pushing for the next World Cup, then for me, everyone else is going to be involved. And what's exciting is you're going to have then an Agyman that in 2 years' time is going to have more WSL experience under her belt. Beaver Jones, all these young players that probably didn't get enough minutes, in my opinion. Maya Letizier. So I think it's so exciting for England.
Excellent. Brilliant. Well, I've enjoyed chatting to you, Tash, during the tournament. Great work.
And you guys.
We'll catch up with you soon. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Cheers.
There we are. That's Tash Dowie, then former England striker. And our thanks to and all the top team bringing us commentary from the meeting. And Big Alan, as you were hearing earlier on, he's going to be there. Michael Owen will be with him at Goodwood, so tune in for breakfast. And you're back on Thursday, aren't you?
Thursday with the birthday spread, and then I'm off for a bit after that.
Okay, but, brilliant. Well, get him while you can. Remember the name, Ernie Jenkins, apparently. We'll catch up with you tomorrow. Have a fine evening. Coming up next, I believe Andy Goldstein's back. And there is Dalton.
He is, I saw him earlier.
He's alongside Gabby Agbonlahor, Wood Drive.